Yes, how's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about Mission Impossible, the first Mission Impossible, to be more specific, and the first Mission Impossible movie, because there also is the Mission Impossible TV series. You know, we're going to talk about the whole thing. So we're going to talk about, Tom Cruise choosing a mission rather than just being assigned one, because, that's how it totally works in the real world. Doing some crazy stuff on trains and planes and automobiles. It's going to be a whole thing. So if you want to hear what we have to say, sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and listen on in to the first ones to die. Mr. Telephone.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the First Ones to Die podcast. We got some musical introductions for y'all. Go ahead, Jerome. Show them what y'all about.
Mr. Telephone Man, there's someone on your love. I don't know. Those aren't the lyrics. Anyway, hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the show. I know what you're probably thinking. I wasn't expecting to see another episode this week because y'all MFers have been so inconsistent this whole entire year. But joke's on you because we're back. All right. Alex, how are you doing?
I mean, I like to say in April, I was in my mourning period. So,
exactly. So if anybody has anything to say.
Listen, thinking of a musical.
Yeah, say it to me. My cat's dead.
Thinking of a musical montage. That was me in April. I was going through a bit of a mental health phase. I was sitting out here like Mulan. Who is that girl I see staring right back at me?
I was trying to figure out how you were tying musical montage with mental health. I was like, were you just vibing in your musical area or era of life? And hey, I'm down with that. I love that. Love musical theater. So
listen,
this is the musical episode. Apparently.
Whenever I'm most depressed, that is my song to sing to help me feel a little seen in the world. Is Reflections from Mulan, because Mulan gets it. She understands.
I was having a moment the other week, and someone was on The Voice was singing, "You are so beautiful," and for some reason that made me just so emotional. I don't know why, but anyway, Alex, back to you.
I've been good. I've been sick, but I'm doing better. I think it's been allergies, but who knows. I don't know, because the pollen's been insane and it's been nice weather.
Yeah.
But actually, don't really have a life update, but I have a question for you guys. And I've been asking this question with everybody because I find it so interesting. And the results I've gotten back, I've absolutely loved them. So if you guys had to have a choice between knowing everything about one place, which would it be? No. The Vatican or Area 51?
Oh, I thought you were about to say, if you could know the day that you die, or if you could know how you die, which one would you choose?
If I knew that, I might try to force the date a little bit sooner. I can't be trusted with that information in me.
Well,
look, I know my mental health
if
issues.
You know the date, though, can't you counteractively make sure that the date doesn't happen?
Forget the question that I said. Let's go to Alex's question.
I guess unless you get cancer or something, in which case it's
well, no. Have you ever seen those movies where they're like, oh, I'm not gonna die. That I die by going to dying on an airplane, and then they're like, well, I'm not gonna fly that day, and all of a sudden a kid's toy airplane hits them right in the head. They die by an airplane. It's one of those you can't escape death.
Well,
it'll come for you any other way.
This should have been on our Final Destination episode. We should have brought it.
Answer my question.
Anyway, so Vatican or what was the other option?
Or Area 51.
Area 51. The Vatican. Because then I can use it on dates and whatnot. When I take whoever she is to the Vatican, I could just hit her with all these Vatican facts, and she'll be like, "Oh my God, he's so worldly."
You said dates plural, like you going to the Vatican every weekend.
You're not gonna use the Vatican date one time. What if you break up with that girl? You gonna go again? You know what I mean?
So that's where you're from. Why are you such a man? Why would you answer it in such a manner? Oh, I'm gonna.
I went to the Vatican last year when I went to Italy. And it was interesting. Did a whole tour and everything. So because of that, I think I might choose Area 51 because it's the more, I feel like, unknown. There's more history and there are more things that are known and publicly out there about the Vatican. Granted, there is the secretive stuff, you know? But
well, that's the whole point of the question. It's like you get to know everything, the dark secrets, what's hiding under every door or what's behind every door, like that. Would you still choose Area 51 or would you still choose the Vatican? Like, you know everything.
I think so. I think Area 51 because the Vatican seems like it is more, you know, something that is closer to daily life for us. So I don't know if I would want to know all the secrets. Area 51 is more removed from our lives. So if I find out the secrets, it's like it wouldn't be a life-altering thing, you know?
See, for me, it's more about the fact that what am I supposed to do with the information about Area 51?
What are you supposed to do with the information about the Vatican?
That's what I was
I told you what I could do with the information about the Vatican.
You could do that with Area 51. Take a girl to Nevada. It's probably a cheaper flight.
Chicks ain't really into Area 51 like that. Not like the Vatican. The Vatican's romantic. Area 51 is where you take, I don't know, the wife and kids or something. When you got time in.
As a person who's very much into sci-fi and aliens, thanks, man.
Listen, you're different, all right? You're a unique person, which is why I love you. But we're talking about the normies, all right? The uninteresting people, the bland-ass women of the world who just wanted to go to the Vatican because they've seen Lizzie McGuire one too many times.
Not helping your case in like any way. I think you actually made it worse.
Listen, they don't want me anyway. I'm also a weirdo and a freak, all right? They're not knocking my door down to talk to me.
I don't think she went to the Vatican in that movie.
She did not.
She did not. This is true.
She was in Rome.
Yeah, she was.
Different country, different area altogether.
City. It's all in Italy, no?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, the Vatican is in Rome. Oh no, it's in Florence. Sorry, it's in Florence.
Are we?
No, it's not.
Hold on. Vatican location.
No, same country, different cities.
It's either in Florence or Rome. It's in one of those two because those are two of the three places I went to. I went to Rome.
Where's Indy when you need him? Geography master.
Technically, the Vatican is its own city, but it is next to Rome. It is next to Rome. So you were right, then wrong, and then right again, Jonathan, and then wrong. So.
Look, I got Jesus on my side, clearly. So I don't need these. If they don't want me, that's okay. God did not intend them for me anyway.
Well, thank you for your answers. I've been asking literally everybody, and I've gotten the most interesting, like, it's not even like the interesting what people are choosing. It's their, one, I absolutely love that people are taking the questions like to heart. Like, people are stopping and really like, But also, it's, like, great the reasons people have been coming up with. And, like, it's been so cool just hearing people's answers. I'm asking all my coworkers. I'm asking my family, friends, like, anybody. Random people on the street. I don't care. Like, I want to know why. And, like, ever since I've been asking that question, Vatican or Area 51, people have just been giving me the best answers. Is that, like, my favorite question? But how are you doing, Jonathan? That's where I end mine.
Jesus said, I'm going to put in my 2 cents in this Vatican conversation. I'm good. Before we got on the podcast, I talked a little bit about the fact that I saw a movie this weekend, and that was the box office dominating Lilo and Stitch. Thankfully, that has been stuck in my head this whole time.
Try doing a laser show of it every week for like years, okay? That's my existence. Well, it was.
I surf through the sunset beyond the horizon. Sorry.
I actually have a movie to talk about, but I'll let you talk about Lilo and Stitch first.
Okay. So thankfully I went to an evening show, so there weren't as many kids there.
It was a mix.
At least there weren't any audible kids. And I say that because today and yesterday, the amount of videos I have seen on social media where there is Lilo and Stitch. If you've seen Lilo and Stitch, you know that there's a point when, you know, we almost lose Stitch. He's almost a goner. These kids are bawling their eyes out.
I saw one of those videos of a kid who was just like, is like so sad. And I was just like, as a parent, if I was a parent, I'd feel so bad. I'd be like, man, I didn't think this is going to happen like this. I might have to buy them some ice cream or something to help them feel better. I mean, we know it'll be all right, but still, just to help soften the blow when they get home.
Poor kids.
They're kids.
And it is emotional, and especially in the live action, I feel like, because it's live action, it feels more realistic than the cartoon animated
Lilo and
version.
Stitch isn't like the others, where the other like live actions are about virtually adults dealing with other adults. This is an animal, like an alien animal, but an animal nonetheless. So
With
you know, kids have a
kid.
special connection with animals that they don't with people.
But I enjoyed it for what it was worth. There were, after watching the movie, I did see a lot of the discourse, particularly with the casting, particularly of Nani, the older sister. I know that she is not Hawaiian. She is, I believe, half Vietnamese or Filipino. And so I know people had an issue with that because most of the rest of the people in the cast are Hawaiian. And Nani, in particular, she in the original animated film, she had darker skin. She was a little thicker. And the Nani,
To be
in this
fair,
film is not that.
I just rewatched the original. Every woman in that movie is thick. Like every.
Well, I think that goes
one.
with like the
No.
the
It's not a critique. I'm just saying, like, so I understand why people might be upset. They're like, look, the thickness was being passed out like free samples on the Lilo and Stitch animation team. They spare men and women, both. Everybody was at least like a smooth, like one let's say like 190 at the lowest weight. So like to like going up from there. Unless they were children. They were the only ones.
I know people also had an issue with the fact that they removed Gantu from this movie as well. The big alien.
I mean, a lot of the controversy just stems from the plot in general. People having issues with the changes into the plot.
Well, they also made one of the aliens the bad guy, right?
They changed Jumba to be more
Jumba
villainous.
to be the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they also, instead of them wearing costumes and stuff while they're to blend in with the rest of the people, they literally just turn into two white guys.
But that change makes sense to me because I'm like there's certain things you can get away with in a cartoon because it's a cartoon that you cannot get away with if it's supposed to be live action. And the idea of aliens walking around with like a fake mustache and sunglasses where you can clearly see the extra set of eyes they have, like that you can get away with that in a cartoon because that's silly and goofy. In a live action movie, it's like, nah, bro, there's no way they don't know they're aliens.
Well, you don't think there's no way they don't know that Stitch, this blue creature with 4 arms and 2 legs, is
an
the
antenna.
amount of people that have deformed pets who have one eye, missing legs, all types of stuff. Like, I could see people being like, it's just a dog with a rare deformity compared to like aliens walking around who are walking, talking, got multiple eyes or one singular eye in one case. That's different. My complaint is they didn't get Ving Rhames back to be Cobra Bubbles. He's still alive, and the character looks just like him. You could have just called it. They do, but he's played by Courtney B. Vance.
Which I think they needed. I think they wanted the bigger name. Like Courtney B. Vance is a.
Then Ving Rhames, I feel like they're on the same level.
I don't know. He hasn't been in anything in a minute.
He's in Mission Impossible right now.
I know.
It could have been that he was just doing Mission Impossible.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe.
okay, that's
And he
that's a
probably
fair
turned
point.
it down.
It's true. That's true. It could be possible he's in Mission
He
Impossible
probably saw
currently.
the disaster that Lilo and Stitch was going to be, especially after seeing all the disasters the Disney live action makes have been. And he was probably like, my name's connected to the original Lilo and Stitch, the good one that people are showing. They're like, this is my childhood. Maybe I'm going to step away from that, which I know is probably going to fall, and do Mission Impossible, which everybody can't get enough of for some reason.
Here's the thing, though. I think, but again, this movie proves my point yet again, because you start off right, Jonathan, in that this is yet another box office smash, irregardless of the complaints. People are still going to buy tickets.
Alex, is Jerome frozen for you too?
I'm frozen on my own screen as well. Like something's going on with my.
It's not a bad
just
image to be frozen on though.
You got like my good side.
There's something happened with the driver.
Right,
no, keep it on the image. You can keep it on the image.
Yeah, you look good. You look good. Look at you. You look fun. Yeah, you look great. Look, you got the good angle. You got the jaw. Yeah. I have any of the live actions I've not liked of Disney. I think they just need a.
Which apparently Snow White was the one that did it for him, because apparently, and I don't know how true the reports are, but allegedly they're gonna slow down the live actions, which they should anyway, because they're running out of live actions to do.
To be fair, this one wasn't even supposed to really hit theaters. It was supposed to originally be a Disney Plus exclusive, but then I don't know what happened, but they decided to make it a theater release.
Probably because all their other movies have been flopping, so they're like, we could probably make some money off of this.
Right, and it was a good decision to put it in theaters because it's made like $400 million at this point. It's already in its first
that kind
weekend.
Of low?
Well, that's the question. It's like it's made a lot of money, but the question is that the money they wanted to make? Because like Thunderbolts was the same thing. By like regular movie standards, it made a lot of money, but by Marvel standards of what they're used to pulling in, it was considered low.
Yeah, and usually for Disney films in general, they tend to score a little bit higher too, and 400 million does not sound like a good number for them.
Let me see.
I'm not complaining for 400 million.
I know. Put 400 million in my bank account, I'll be set.
Yeah, give me smooth 400 million. I'll be set. I'll be good.
Yeah, I'm all set.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, for its budget was 100 million, so it's already made.
So it's made its money back
in its
good.
First weekend. And I know it in the first weekend it already made all of the money that the original Lilo and Stitch made in its entire run.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, I'm sure it's doing well. But what did you think of the movie? Did you like it?
I enjoyed it. I had I think it was exactly pretty much what I expected. There were no real surprises. It did bring the nostalgia, like the certain scenes. You think about like when Lilo's laying on the floor listening to Elvis. That's a classic scene. They did, spoilers, I guess. It's not about the plot or anything, but one of the things that they did, I guess, change. Instead of Lilo and Myrtle getting in a fist fight, she just pushes Myrtle off the stage, and that's how that conflict happens.
Oh, boo.
I guess it would have been too violent and gruesome if they would have gotten into.
Listen, you gotta let Lilo be Lilo, okay? She's got them hands. She lets them know she's serious about hers.
They gotta show kids fighting more.
They should. They
gotta show violence.
Well, yes and no.
Well, there's a lot of violence in the world. I get that. I get that, but like cartoonish violence, it's fine.
Not that. I'm just tired of seeing. If I have to see another coming of age story with a child in middle school or beneath that, and there's the stereotypical bully character who picks on them because we need character development, I'm gonna lose it.
I have been saying that for years. And like everybody's like, oh, but you don't understand, or oh, it's important for kids of this. No, God, no more. We get
there's
it.
Other ways to show kids
losers
struggling
never prosper
in
high school. No, it's like, oh, the losers never prosper in high school, but wait till you get out of high school, or this one night's going to change your life. No, what it's going to lead to is a mental breakdown before you go to college, and then your whole life's gonna go crazy. You're just
the other thing is that there were certain points where you could tell that they were either like when they would hug Stitch or pet Stitch, there were points where you could tell that they were just hugging air or petting air. It was very obvious that was the case.
I saw one of those scenes, the ending.
It's where she's like scratching,
where she's saying goodbye, and like her hand goes right through him. I saw that on TikTok.
Yeah, and one of the. Do you care if I talk about like one of the major spoilers in the movie? Like one of the things that they made.
Is it the ending?
Yes. Okay. You probably already know, Jerome.
That's the biggest thing I've seen on TikTok of people being super mad about the ending.
Yeah,
people are upset that. And spoilers for anyone listening who wants to watch Lilo and Stitch 2025. But Nani, she basically gives up Lilo to CPS, but she gives Lilo to her next door neighbor, and which is what's his name, the surfer guy, and his mom,
David,
David,
and his grandmother.
Which is like, you know, even though she's with someone you have grown up next to, it's still like she's in the system, you know. And
I've seen the gambit of like the 1,000 different people talking about that plot point, from people being, because isn't it also like extra spoiler on top of that like also there's technically a way for her to get back home really fast if she needs to.
Yeah.
So realistically,
she goes to college.
There's no reason for her to give her up if it's that simple. I've seen some people be like who've also defended the decision and been like, well, like it's more of a commentary on the kind of, which is a people of color thing in general, but especially in Hawaii, like of like a found family type thing of like, you know, where it's like you have like the grandmother who's also Hawaiian, and so she like kind of adopts this family that's next door to her, and so in a way, even though she's not biologically related to Nani and Lilo, she is the closest thing they've had to a real grandmother since the losing their parents, and so she is family even though she's not. So it's not like Lilo's just getting given to this random woman. So it's I've seen like a bunch of different takes on this, from people who have defended it to people who hate it to people who are in the middle, and it's a thing where I'm like, again, I keep saying it with these remakes, if you're gonna remake the movie, either remake the movie or change everything and let people know from the jump this is not going to be the same thing. You can't do both, because all you're going to do is make nobody happy.
True.
I don't like it, mainly because the whole movie she's fighting to stay with her sister. She's fighting, and then it feels like she's so willing to give up in the end. And I get it. Oh, like, oh, she's going off to college. You know, she's doing something for herself. Yeah, cool, but the story wasn't about that. The story was family stays together no matter what. And in Hawaii, there's lots of marine biology. It's one of the biggest places to study marine biology. And they make her go to the mainland. Yeah. So it's like,
that was another thing somebody was talking about.
Yeah.
I heard
you're literally
that
showing
like,
that.
You're in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Like,
you're in Hawaii, the best place to study marine biology. And you go so far away. It's almost like she's, in a way, trying to make her seem like she's like leaving all behind, but like, oh, I can just come back home. As somebody who is very close to my sister, I followed her from California to Oregon, or I moved to Oregon, she came up to Oregon. She moved to Washington, I came up to Washington. I could not imagine ever leaving my sister. No matter what stage of life I'm in, we are so connected. And I don't think I could even live a state away from her. You know, when she was living in a whole like different, I was living in Seattle, she was living in Bellevue. That was hard enough because I couldn't just pop in and see. And I love that she lives so much closer now to me. So
what if you had that portal though?
I wouldn't like it because she'd probably drop off the dogs. Because we have she's like, I would love for you to live in my building, but I could see her ass, like all 3 dogs show up in my front door, and she's like, I'm cleaning the apartment. I need them out of the apartment, and she just leaves the dogs with me. Like children, like real children, because she would. She said she wouldn't, but she would. But yeah, that connection of when you would literally do anything for family, you would find any way to stay with them. and having the resources to stay in the same place. Even if she does go with family, she wouldn't go to a whole nother, place to go study marine biology when you're in the best place to study it. It feels like, hey, look, it works out best for everybody if Lilo is no longer being raised by Nani and she's being raised by somebody else. And Nani can come visit, but it's like, no, the whole point was it's them against the world. It's they have other people, like David and Stitch, but it was always them. There was a bond between them that Nani was literally ready to fight aliens in the original movie. She hit Gantu in the face and she's like, you're going to help me rescue her now. There was no fear, So like to just leave her like this at the end of this one, it's like, I don't like it. I think that's a terrible remake. And it feels like that's not the spirit of what Lilo and Stitch is.
Especially because from a writer standpoint, because the director commented off of the the negativity, and he said that for him, he's like, well, we wanted to redefine what Ohana meant, and I felt like watching the first movie that the movie like really tackles the like part of Nani loving Lilo, but it doesn't tackle the parts of like when you're a sibling taking care of another sibling, where you have like where Nani doesn't really get to live her life. She mostly lives to take care of Lilo, which but for me, I'm like, I can see what you're talking about. At the same time, though, I think what you've done also that makes it a little different is that Nani seems older than she is, like in the cartoon, than she is in the live action movie. Like it seems like
Nani seems like she's in like her mid-20s in the
versus
cartoon.
In the movie she seems like she's in her 30s. Like she's like she's a full-grown adult. She's past the stage of like going to college and doing whatever. So she's like, because she's older, it's implied she like her parents were around when she was able to do, because if Lilo's supposed to be like, I don't know, 6 or 7, that means Nani grew up to be about the age of possibly like 22, 23. So she got time to live virtually a life where she got to do whatever she wanted, and then years of Lilo growing up as a baby to be whatever, and then they lost their parents. So it's like I think there's a bit of a difference also though with that casting as well that informs that decision, as opposed to looking at it from the perspective of Nani's an adult. Yeah, she's struggling to keep a job, but she's struggling to keep a job because she has these new responsibilities that have been thrust upon her, not because, well, I never got my life together before what happened and now I gotta figure it out. It's like, no, it's more like now she has to take care of a house with a mortgage when she probably had an apartment at one point, and now she has a child to raise, which is a struggle in and of itself with all the costs that come with taking care of a kid. So it's like, it's not the same experiences, I feel like, between the two characters, even though there's the same character. But I haven't seen the movie. These are just my outside observation.
I just really don't like how Nani leaves Lilo, just because, like I said, because of my own sisterly bond. There's been moments and experiences I have given up for my sister, and I would gladly do it all over again. I would gladly give up any time if it meant helping my sister, taking care of my sister. I mean, there are times I reschedule this podcast because I go help out my sister, and I would always do it over and over again. Between anybody else and her, I will always choose her. And that's why I don't like the new Lilo and Stitch and how it's supposed to end, because the way I saw Lilo and Stitch, I connected with it because I'm like, hell yeah, always together, Ohana. This one, it's like, no.
Yeah, that's fair. And a lot of people did feel that same sentiment. And it's more than fair, because it's kind of like, did you really need to reinvent the wheel? But I heard that they were also trying to like incorporate aspects of all of because there's like 2 Lilo and Stitch, or 2 or 3 Lilo and Stitch movies, and then there's Stitch.
Yeah, there's 3 movies. There's like 4 movies, because like Lilo, and then Lilo and Stitch 2, Leroy and Stitch, and then
Leroy
Stitch,
and then Stitch the movie.
So
and
those
then
are like
series.
the 3 movies, and then the series, and then there's an anime series that was I think only like Japan or something like that.
More movies after Lilo's? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had a whole franchise.
Some of them are okay. I hear like Leroy and Stitch is okay. Lilo and Stitch 2
I know
is
the
setup.
cartoon because that was the one where they were trying to catch failed experiments. I did watch that.
Yeah, Lilo and Stitch 2 was the setup for that. Lilo and Stitch 2 is where they introduced that idea, and then that leads directly into the cartoon where they have to find the rest of the experiments.
Okay.
And so I heard that they were trying to encapsulate elements of all of the, not just the original, animated movie. They were trying to capture elements of all of the canon, but maybe they should have just, stuck to what was successful in the first place.
Anything else you did this week, Jonathan?
Oh wow, that was so. Basically, we did a Lilo and Stitch mini review. So yeah, I'll probably give it a B-. Maybe
You're too nice.
C C+. It was pretty average, but I enjoyed it, and it brought back the nostalgia. Other than that, not too much. Just been chilling. Dang, what have I? Literally, all the shows are about to start back up again, and by all the shows, I mean all the reality shows. So right now, they're releasing all the casts and everything. We literally got the cast of Survivor 50 yesterday, which is going to be all returning players, which we haven't had returning players back since season 40, since it's a milestone season and everything. But one of the and the cast is like so. There are people on there who I wish would not be on there, and there's people who did not get on there that I wish were on there. But one of the people who I'm really excited to see is Mike White. Mike White, the White Lotus creator and writer and director. He's going to be on Survivor 50. So
he was on Survivor before.
Mm-hmm. The season was called David versus Goliath in 2018. So this was before White Lotus, but he was already like a writer and stuff in Hollywood at that point.
Most people who get on reality TV shows are already in the industry in some way, shape, or form. Like they're actors.
Yeah, like I assume like mainly
actors.
actors. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it's only
mainly
recently that now
he was
social
definitely
media thing can help you get on a reality show now. But yeah, virtually.
But he was definitely notable at that time. Like he was a standout. Like, oh, it's Mike White who wrote School of Rock. So it was like, oh, Mike White who wrote School of Rock. Yeah. So he's. I was so surprised. So people have been joking like, because in each season of the White Lotus, he puts a little cameos of people who he was on the show with, Survivor, like people from his Survivor season. He puts them in different cameos and everything, in each season. And so people have been saying like that Mike White, his strategy is going to be, hey, don't vote me out, and I'll put you in the next season of White Lotus, which I appreciate that strategy.
Listen, do what you got to do to win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's that. The Love Island cast came out today. It starts next week. I'm so excited about that.
Is it Love Island, Alaska?
It is not, but that would be amazing. I would pay to see that.
You know what? Really quick, there's a show, Ghost, on Paramount, or it's on CBS. I actually really like it. It's very cheesy, but it's good. But so they explain like reality shows to the ghost. So they're funny ghosts. Anyway, they're like ghosts that have like there's a colonial ghost, an indigenous ghost, a ghost that traveled from that was a Viking that's here. So the main character, she's explaining what it's getting hot in here. The reality show is called. So they have everybody bundled up, like really bundled up in big parkas, hats, scarves, everything. And you're supposed to kind of fall in love with the personality. And then every week they turn up the temperature. So one article of clothing gets removed until the end when they start pairing up and they realize how hot everybody is. So you can't fall in love with the body because the person has like a giant parka. And I was like, that's a messed up show, but like I kind of would like to see it because then they were like, oh, this person got eliminated, and they like remove their stuff and they're like, oh no, he was hot. Now he's gone.
Why
That's
can I
just
see
a Family
that show
Guy
actually
joke.
happen?
They stole that from Family Guy. Because there's a joke in Family Guy in which they talk
That's
about
a joke
dating
everywhere.
in Russia.
Yeah.
And they're like, if you're dating in Russia, it's a crapshoot because they have their big Russian coats. And I'm like, yo, very funny.
Alaska
Anyway.
too, I guess.
Nice. The last thing I wanted to mention, lastly, is that there's a new show that just started this week called Destination X, and it's hosted by the one and only Jeffrey Dean Morgan, aka Negan from The Walking Dead.
Yep.
And it's basically I feel like you might like this show, Alex. It's basically they drop you in there's like 11, 12, or however many contestants. They're on this bus. They're in Europe. That's all they know. And they're on this bus and the windows are blacked out and everything. They drop them off at a certain at different locations. And then they ultimately end up at a location. And you have to basically use the clues that you have been given on the stops along the way to figure out where you are right now in this current moment. And whoever is the furthest away from knowing, placing on the map where they're at, they're eliminated. And at the end,
so
whoever wins.
convoluted.
It's a little.
I love how much we've normalized kidnapping in a way, because that's straight up kidnapping. It's
pretty
a bit
much,
like
pretty much.
kidnapping.
But they present it like, oh, we're on this mission to find out where we're gonna go next. So
Let's make abduction fun. That was the pitch of the show.
And Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I after just one episode of watching him on this show, I love him. Now I love him.
What do you mean
like,
now? He's been great forever.
No, I know, but I don't think he's fully appreciated. There was just his his like swag and attitude. He pulled up when he first met.
Did he do the Negan thing?
Pretty much. He pulled up on a bike on a motorcycle. There was one part where he sat down, and I don't know why the camera lingered on him so much, but I caught it. He sat down. It was like he sat down like this. And I'm pretty sure that was just because of age. Like, he sat down the slowest I think I've ever seen anybody sit down in my life. But I don't know why the camera lingered on him that long. But I think, it added to like this, like, yeah, cool factor. I'm gonna sit down and take my time sitting down. So
yeah, he's currently 59 years old.
Damn.
But he's cool, man. He's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy.
Still married to his wife since 2019, Hillary Burton.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he's a Seahawks fan.
Hey.
So anyways, that is it for me. I know that took way entirely too long, and we had a Lilo and Stitch mini review in there. We could low-key title this episode Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible review. So anyway,
I mean, we do mini reviews of movies all the time, so it's no big deal. That's no problem.
Hey.
It's par of the course.
Okay,
Jerome.
real quick, before we move on to Jerome, I want to talk about a movie real quick, because I'm super excited. So, AMC has these unseen movies every the first month of every Monday that you can go to.
Oh, no.
Did I freeze? Did I glitch out?
Yeah,
I heard
so
AMC
you've been cutting
has
out for a while, but this is the first time we missed what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to talk fast then. AMC has these unseen movies, and I've always wanted to go to one. Yeah, I've been dying to go to one because I'm like, I really want to see what's it about, but I haven't had.
And it's always like a rated R movie, right?
Yes, they always let you know the rating. Sometimes there's PG-13s. So this last one, May 2nd, or whenever the first week of May was, there was a horror one that was unseen. And I was so excited to go because I finally had the time. I was able to go. I made it. And I'm thinking, unseen. Cool. It's going to be some cheap horror film. It's going to be something that's not seen in theaters. I was prepared for some crappy student film. But I was all about it, man. Had my popcorn and stuff. No. Who comes onto the screen but the guys who created the movie Talk to Me? Danny Filippo? And Bill
I forget to pronounce their
Hainsman?
last name. Yeah, the Rocco.
Yeah,
guys.
Bill. Yeah, Danny and Bill. And they start
Danny
talking
Bill.
about their new movie. Yeah, I'm gonna butcher his last name, and I feel like real bad. But they
Danny
are
Philippou and
showing
Michael Philippou.
Philippou,
I think that's how you pronounce
but it was
his name.
written by Bill Heinzman too. But anyway, so excited when I see them. I was like, you got to be kidding me. The movie that I saw was Bring Her Back, which is being released
Yes.
right now, or May 29th, May 30th. The release date is happening as we're recording this. I got to see it a month early. And when I tell you that I made a weird sound when they started talking, because I got so excited, like the person sitting near me looked at me weirdly. Because I already had tickets. Opening night, I had tickets. I was like, I'm going to go after work right away. Like, I got to see that film. It was so good. Like, I don't want to tell any details because I want everybody to go see this movie. I don't want to even
I'm
give
watching
you
it this
any
weekend. You
oh
sold
my
me.
God, you are going to love it. It is.
I had heard about it, but I figured I knew I was gonna watch it, but you got me on board.
I was like, every second was just like, oh my, there's just something else. And the scenes, and it gets a little graphic, and just you kind of have an idea of what's going on. But the more you learn and how far the female antagonist is willing to go to reach her goal is insane and so good. And I just cannot say how good this film is. I loved it. And when the movie was over, we all left the theater so quietly. There was not a sound made. That movie hit so well, nobody could talk. We were just like, we're going to go. Nobody ruined this. Nobody talked. Let's just go. It was just beautiful. And I was so excited to talk about it with somebody. And there's a guy I talked to at work about horror films. And we weren't working for a couple days after I saw this film. So I tried to tell other coworkers, and they're like, yeah, that's great, Alex. And I was like, oh my God, where is he? So finally, when he came into office, I told him all about it. And he was finally excited with me. And the other coworker was making fun of me. She's like, we didn't give her the reaction. And I'm like, no, nobody gave me the reaction because nobody has any idea how excited I was to not only see this movie, but to see it a month early, because I've been getting so pissed off by the spoilers that people have been giving for movies. I have to go opening night because people keep posting things on TikTok, Instagram, any social media. They post live from the theater, and it's so infuriating. So I got to
on that note, I hate seeing clips that people record in the theater.
People have no respect for movie theaters anymore. When we saw Final Destination, somebody was filming. Granted, he wasn't filming the movie, but he did film every trailer in the theater, and I'm like, for what purpose?
You can find it on YouTube.
You can watch it on the internet.
Yeah, just watch the movie. So when I tell you that sound I made, I understand why the guy looked at me weird, because I was like, I'm going to see this. I'm not going to catch any spoilers. I'm not going to see some accidental clip or something. No, and I got to watch it and enjoy it. And let me tell you, I'm going to try to go see more of those unseen films. So much more, especially the ones that are horror and thrill. I'm going to be there because everybody needs to go see Bring Her Back. You just have to go to understand how well this film is done. And the fact that it is made by the same people who did Talk to Me is the work you are putting out, the work you are doing really is showing. You are giving us original content. You are giving us these great, fresh stories that are not only an amazing content, they're just stimulating, and the visuals are great, and the acting was fantastic. I could not say anything bad about this movie. And it hit me in certain parts where I'm whoa. And parts got a little scary where I even covered my eyes, and that's saying a lot for me. So go see Bring Her Back. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil it, but just take from my excitement that you should go see Bring Her Back and just go. I'm so happy.
Bring yo back to see Bring Her Back. That's a good test. That's a good testimony, because I always, every week when I'm looking at the movie list, which movies are out this week, I always see that at the bottom. It's AMC Unseen or Scream Unseen or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it sounds interesting, but I'm like, ooh, do I want to watch a movie where I don't know anything about the movie going in? But Maybe I
Yeah.
should.
Yeah, I've been wanting to, and I don't know if it's going to be like this every time you go to Unseen. I just got insanely lucky. This is the first time I got to go see one. I've like bought tickets and then something came up, or like it's on a day I just couldn't go. So like this was like the world's most perfect timing that I was, again, so insanely excited that when they popped up on the screen, I was like, no. And then they started talking about Bring Her Back. I was like, shut up. And just, yeah. I'm so excited you're going to see it this weekend, and I'm going to need you to text me after you watch it, and you tell me how much you love it. Cool.
Okay.
All right. Jerome. You're just going to have to text me. Your turn. I'm done gushing.
Jerome, are you there?
I'm still here.
Are you still with us?
I don't have much to report. I mean, like, honestly, it's been hard to watch things. I've been like kind of just like slow to the draw to watch my shows. Like I haven't even fit. Well, one is like for one of them is Andor, and I'm liking Andor. It's just it's a slower bit for me because they released it in 3-episode batches. So I just got through the first arc, which was pretty interesting. Although the last part of that arc, I was like, was really a bit annoying because there's like a whole EDM club, which I've always hated in Star Wars when they make things that are like in our world, but it's like, it's the Star Wars edition. And it's like, but it feels like just a regular EDM thing. And more than anything, I was watching it with my cousin, and we were just laughing because I was just like, because it was the same song. Like they kept cutting between that scene with this loud ass EDM track that they made and the drama of what Cassian was doing. And every time they kept cutting back, it was the same song. And I'm like, the DJ getting fired because you done played the same track for the past like 6 minutes. Ain't mixed no type of other beat, nothing. You ain't no drop. It's just the same rhythm. But I got to finish the rest. But so far, I like it. But there's a lot of shows I have like that because Black Mirror I have to finish.
Same.
Andor, I gotta finish. I haven't
even started it.
Last of Us just ended, and I don't even know if I want to bother finishing because A, I know the story. I've played all of Last of Us Part 2, and B, from people across the internet, from what I've heard, it's not a better version of Part 2. In fact, it's worse from what they say. So I'm like, okay, so I guess I'll take my time then in watching Last of Us Season 2. But to be fair, I knew it was going to be like different. I just didn't think it was going to be this different. Like, and on top of that, them splitting the second game into 2 seasons is really weird to me. I know what they're doing. I just don't think it was the smart decision to do, me personally. But it is what it is. We'll have to see what happens when Season 3 comes out. But what I do have for you is movie news. Well, media news. Mostly centered around movies, but there's a little bit of TV in here. A little bit. So starting out, first new thing. I'm just going to pull up like the little IMDb little segments and stuff. First thing we got, I think you guys will be excited about this. We got our first teaser for It, Welcome to Derry, the prequel series that is supposed to tie into the It movies that we got, I think, a couple years back with It Chapter 1 and then It Chapter 2. And yes, Bill Skarsgård is set to return and reprise his role as Pennywise the Clown. So yeah, it looks good. My only concern and you're kind of seeing it now as we're seeing the teaser trailer. I'm gonna scroll down so I know, Jonathan, you don't watch trailers, so I don't want to spoil the whole thing for you. But
sorry.
The story takes place in 1962, which isn't inherently bad. But my issue is, I'm like, with black main characters, I'm like, I hope this is not yet another project in which racism is the true evil. Don't you see? It's like, yes, I saw it when Jordan Peele did it 3 times over. I saw it when other people did it with the shows like Them and on Amazon Prime and other show. I forget that other show. I'm like, I'm kind of getting tired of the unoriginality of other directors just picking up the torch where Jordan Peele that Jordan Peele really hammered home with Get Out, of being like, what if the villain of our horror series is racism? It's like, okay, are you doing something fresh with it? Are you doing something original and new? Because if not, don't do that. If you got nothing new to say, don't say nothing at all. Just make a horror project with black people in it, please.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, I get what you're saying, but they do have to be pretty racist, especially in a small town.
I'm not saying don't be racist. I'm saying don't make that the exclusive horror section for the black people.
Because there probably will be, if it's 1962 and there's a black family, then there probably will be.
Yeah, I expect racism.
Where they experience.
Yeah.
And if I recall the original,
then otherwise,
originally from it, there was only one black family too.
Yeah,
I think so.
Mainly.
There was just the black kid, the black.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, like all that being said, the trailer looks great. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be interesting. It comes out.
When does it come out?
Later this year in the fall. So it looks interesting, and it's going to be great to come out during the spooky season, in the fall, and everyone's looking for the horror movies and horror stuff to come out. It's supposed to be a TV series too, so there's going to be multiple episodes. I am willing to bet this might be their premiere show for the fall, so they're going to put this on the Sunday time slot where Last of Us is currently right now, and this comes out on television and on HBO Max at the same time. But they're saying it's an HBO Max original, so maybe. Well, no, it's an HBO original. So yeah, so it's not a Max exclusive. It's going to be on television probably then, which is a big property.
But everyone will stream it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. That's a guarantee. We also got a trailer for a movie that I think is interesting. It's a really interesting teaser trailer. We got a trailer for this new movie called Good Fortune, starring Keanu Reeves, Aziz Ansari, and Seth Rogen, Keke Palmer as well. It's a really star-studded cast. You got Sandra Oh, as you can see. It's a very star-studded group. I'm more excited because this is written and directed by Aziz Ansari, which is kind of cool. What are you gonna say, Jonathan?
People were dogging Aziz Ansari's acting in the 1 minute clip.
It's pretty weak from the clip, but to be fair, I'm like, it feels like his acting in everything he's in.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I do like the concept, and I feel like this is going to be one of those movies where it's like, oh, I'm coming to laugh. It's Keanu Reeves and Aziz Ansari and Seth Rogen, but you're going to end up like crying by the end of it. I feel like that's what Keanu Reeves is like. Character is gonna hit you with.
Yeah, and I'm glad
I feel like it's got the vibe of like Everything Everywhere All at Once, where at first it looked like just like one of those movies like, oh, it's kind of weird looking, like that's gonna be fun, and like you see like this hot dog fingers, and then you watch it, you're like, this got so fucking personal so quick, and how dare you.
And it's got Sherry Cola, who was in Joyride, so I'm excited to see her again because she's so funny, and so I'm excited.
That's her stage name, isn't it?
I believe so. I don't think that's her actual name.
I was about to say, I love that name. If so, Sherry Cola.
Yeah. So that's we're excited for Good Fortune. Can't wait to see it. We'll and definitely see more because this is just a teaser for right now. So, and then the last trailer I'm gonna mention before I get into my last bit of news is Caught Stealing, which I gotta find it. But it's the new movie starring Austin Butler and Zoe Kravitz. It looks kind of like to me, it looks like almost like a Coen Brothers-esque type film with how quirky and madcap it is. But it looks fun. It looks really interesting. Okay, well, there's not really the IMDb trailer is not here, so I'm not going to pull up the thing. But it looks fun. It looks interesting. Comes out later this year as well. There's no set date for it yet, but I'm excited. And the main thing, it's directed by Darren Aronofsky, and it's written by Charlie Houston, who we know for, I think, was he? No, my bad. I thought.
Are you thinking of Charleston?
Chew?
No.
Are you
That's can't be.
Charleston Heston? Are you thinking of that guy?
No, I was thinking of the guy who does Black Mirror, but that is not.
Oh, Charlie Booker. You're thinking of.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. No, this guy, he's done episodes of Gotham, and he's done episodes of Powers, which is a show I have not thought about for a long time.
Power, the 50 Cent show?
No, Powers, based off the comic book of the same name, written by Brian Michael Bendis, in which it's a comic book in which there's a former superhero who's joined police force, specific task force called the Powers Division, which is a group of police officers that specifically deal with supercrime and superhero related criminal offenses. It's a really interesting comic book, and the show was all right. The reason most people haven't seen the show is because it's back when PlayStation was trying to get into the TV world. And so it was a PlayStation TV exclusive. You could only watch it on PlayStation. Wow. It had 2 seasons. It had a star-studded cast. It had Sharlto Copley and Logan. I forget her name. Dang it. What's her name?
Oh, the black girl?
Yeah.
With the green eyes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Logan Browning.
Logan Browning. Susan Hayward, who plays Sister Sage and in The Boys. She was in that show. So they had some like big names in there. It just didn't catch on, mainly because it wasn't anywhere people could see it, and people weren't going to PlayStation to watch television. They were going to play video games. So really, it's just a case of, you know, bad timing, to be quite honest. But anyway, so that's Caught Stealing. And then the last bit of media news I got for you guys is we're back again in the Wizarding world, because finally it has come out. We finally have our official casting news of our 3 main leads of Hermione, Ron, and Harry. And here are our 3 kids. We've got like in order of the picture here, we've got Arabella Stanton, we've got Dominic McLaughlin, and we've got Alistair Stout. So Alistair will be playing Ron, Dominic will be playing Harry, and Arabella will be playing Hermione. And people are, I think, pretty much pretty excited. I mean, there's nothing really to hate about this casting, and I think it helped that the first picture we see of these kids is them virtually in costume, like with at least the hair.
And they look exactly pretty much carbon copies like their predecessors.
Yeah, except Arabella. She's the only one that looks unique out of the group. But I think, again, I said it when we were talking about the Snape casting, they had to get some, which I don't know if she's of color, but she looks ethnic enough that we can maybe believe she's of color. Because people have been trying to find that out. If she's a person of color.
But if we had that point where we... Right,
no, not to pick on her, just to see if they fix the Snape problem.
But if we at that point where we got to dig into her ancestry to find out if she's white or not, then it's like, what's the point? Like,
for me, I just assume that she's of color because I'm like, she just got features that I'm like, I don't know, she don't look white.
A lot of it's the hair. I got the same hair.
A lot of it's the hair, yeah.
I got the same hair when I wash my hair. I have not.
Like, for me, I'm like, I just assume she's of color. That's just my assumption. I could be wrong, but you know.
I think a lot of it's the hair. Hair can really say a lot about your ethnicity or things like that. Hair tells a lot of secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you haven't watched it.
For me, I have not seen any of these kids in anything. I think in Arabella's case, for example, I think this is her first big thing after I think I was reading she was in Matilda as well, like the new Matilda. So this is her next big project. So good for her. I don't know about the 2 boys. I don't know if this is their first projects or if they've done other things. Regardless, I like the casting. I think the kids look great. They look exactly perfect for the roles as far as like their ages, their looks, things like that. And if they do something similar to what they did with the original Harry Potter movies, these kids will grow into their roles as the seasons go on, of like, you know, being book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, so on and so forth. So I think it's great casting.
And if they follow the Stranger Things timeline, they'll be 30 plus before season 4 even ends.
Yeah, I was thinking that they really gotta stay close to Harry Potter timeline. Gotta like get those episodes out, because I don't know why they're still trying with the Stranger Things kid. One of them's married.
Well, yeah, Millie Bobby Brown. Or engaged? Is she married or engaged?
No, she got married. She got married.
Oh, okay. Well, married. And Erica She just graduated high school.
Yeah, they need to just nobody even likes Stranger Things anymore. Like they gotta they're beating a dead horse at this point. Not even like a dead horse. They're just beating.
Well, there is a time skip.
The horse's grave.
The next season, they are, I think, supposed to just be adults by now. So I think that's
they have
so
to
be. So they'll probably recast.
No, it's still gonna be the same kids. They're adults now, so they could just do the time skip in Stranger Things.
Wait,
and they're.
Oh no! I thought you were talking about Harry Potter. Okay.
Oh no! With Harry Potter, no, they're just gonna start from scratch and just work their way up, into the
like Euphoria. They're doing a time jump to the appropriate ages of how old the actors are right now.
Jonathan, I hate to squash your dreams, but Euphoria season 3 ain't coming out. All right, it's just
what are you talking? They've been filming it,
so they say. Where's the proof, Jonathan? Where's the pictures?
I've seen images. I've seen. Look here. Let me look at it. I've seen pictures of them filming. They've had Zendaya filming. They had Maddie and Cassie. They were in like a car or something.
These are AI generated pictures.
No, look. Anyway, get to your next point while I look up these pictures.
Oh no, I see it. I see the deadline picture.
You see it?
Yeah. Well, it says everything we know so far, and I think it has a few pictures here and there. But that's okay.
See here, let me share my screen. Here, look. There's a still right there.
You're not sharing your screen. Hold on, I got it.
Oh shoot.
There we go.
Okay. Oh, thank you. There's a still. There's Zendaya fighting with somebody. Priscilla Delgado, whoever she is. There's Maddie and Cassie. Look, there's another one
random
from her
photo
fighting
shoot
with
they did.
No, that is clear. This is Rue. This is not Zendaya. This is Rue. That's even the jacket.
No, I'm
That's
just
the Rue jacket.
I did.
Okay, how do I? Oh, there we go.
But yeah, that's all the media news I got for you today. Not a lot of stuff's going on. They're kind of waiting for stuff to happen. I mean, there's some things that are happening. Oh, also, I guess because we didn't get a chance to talk about this, but I think this is interesting to also talk about because it happened a while ago, but this won't come out for a long time, so we can honestly talk about this whenever. But of course, we got a new trailer for GTA 6. It's official. It's coming out at some point. Like they already
I saw that.
Because they announced the game, right? And then they said coming late 2025. Then that didn't happen. So then they were like, okay, well, coming out, we're going to have to delay it. And everyone was like, whatever. And then they were like, and then they released a second trailer because they were like, okay, we hear you. Listen. We'll give you a little taste. We'll give you a little bit of heaven so that you don't feel so bad. And so then they released a new trailer for GTA 6. Here it is. Being like, hey, here's some just playing while we talk about it. But here, we'll give you a little taste of GTA 6 so you guys stop complaining and stop whining. And it looks good. And mind you, what you're seeing now, all of this is in-game engine. This is not just a cutscene of the game. All that's like how the game looks on a base PS5. That sheen on the muscles, the skin tone, the lighting, the effects, everything. And I was like, this looks like a movie. It looks like so good. It's insane how good this game looks. And so I'm super excited for it. But it has gotten a lot of people talking about the ideas around this game's specific location as well, because this takes place in Vice City, which if you know GTA, you know that is their version of Miami. So it takes place in Florida. And there's a lot of stuff that is a huge nods to Florida from two of the characters in particular that are going to be really interesting to see is there's two characters who are supposed to be what are the rap group? Damn it. City Girls, kind of like the City Girls duo. But they're local rappers here in Florida. You get to see, of course, you're seeing some of our two main leads, Jason and I think her name's, is it Lucia or something? I forget her name, but she's great too. People are already trying to look for their face models because if you know GTA, they often they'll hire a person, like the person who is doing the voice is also often the person who the character's modeled after. There's the one of the like hip hop girls. So it looks really interesting. It looks really good. I think the game looks like something special. I'm excited for it when it eventually comes out. And the new release date is 2026 in May. So we're excited for GTA 6. Can't wait. Yeah. So, any thoughts on GTA 6? I know y'all aren't really big gamers. It is Lucia. I know you guys aren't big gamers, but like, would you play GTA 6? Are you interested, at least at looking at it or taking a peek?
If I was like at somebody's house,
yeah,
playing. I mean, I don't have a PlayStation, so I don't have any way of playing it.
What's really funny is when the first GTA 6 came out, like GTA 6 trailer came out, and people were trying to be like, oh, GTA's all woke now. They got a female main character, because that's one of the things that's also special about this game. First time we're having a female main character, as well as including also to the main male character. But there are a couple, like a Bonnie and Clyde thing going on. But Lucia is probably the one people want to play the most because she's like new, she's fresh, having a female main character. But because of that, you had the idiots of the internet being like, "Oh, GTA is all woke now," and everyone was like, "I'm sorry, GTA, the game in which you could like go on down to Prostitute Row and beat up a whole group
My thing is,
women of the night if you wanted to. That's the game that's woke." Are you out your damn mind?
With these people who keep complaining about things that are woke. Everything's woke nowadays. Everything's woke nowadays. If everything's woke nowadays, then why do you keep bitching about it? Why are you shocked that something's woke now? Apparently it happens all the fucking time. Well then, oh well. It's like, why do you need to say it every fucking single time? Everything's woke. Well, if everything's woke already, why do you need to keep saying it? We all know it's woke already. Anything having a female lead, we get it. We know your stance on it. We know. Shut the fuck up. We know what you're going to say. It's the same thing over and over. I understand you like talking into the void of the internet and you feel like that opinion matters. But when you just spout the same, few words every single time, at least, give me a reason why it's woke other than it's a female thing. Just something else. Something else I can hate. I don't care anymore. I don't even have the energy to hate your stupid words anymore because it's the same ones over and over. Like, be stupider about something else. Something else.
People misuse the word woke.
First of all, most of them don't even know what that means. On top of that,
they misuse the word woke for different. Anytime it's not,
what they want.
What they want. Exactly. Or another character or somebody is present of an ethnic minority, LGBTQ character, something that is not the standard, even if they're not even the main character, even if they're just present, then people say it's woke, even though it's the world that we live in.
Just to talk about more video games, because I still have to play this game, but I'll make time to do it. But it's Xbox exclusive, so I have to play it on my PC. This is South of Midnight, which is easily one of the most original games we have gotten in a while. Because it's like this game that takes place in like the bayou of like New Orleans, I think. It's definitely like a swamp game, but it's like this really cool game with this black main character. It's super cool. It's so interesting. I love the art style, and it has this kind of like Spider-Verse kind of choppy frame rate style a little bit. You can see a little here with the doll and stuff. It's super unique and different. Has a black main cast, black main character. Here come all the people. Oh, what's with all these woke games? It's like, and it's been funny to see all the people who've played the game been like, this is one of the best single player games in a long time. It's super unique and original. Clearly, so tell me you haven't played the game without telling me you haven't played the game. And people have been using it as the litmus test of when they say, oh, they're turning all our stuff woke. Why don't you just make your own original things? So then here comes South of Midnight, a completely original game, original IP, not based off anything. Well, no, you can't make that. It's like, hey, you said make your own thing. So now we made our own thing that's a badass, awesome horror action game with a black main character. What's your complaints now? We made our own thing. You don't got to play it. Go play something else. Play your Call of Duty for the 19th millionth time, and the rest of us black people will enjoy South of Midnight and other games like it, and you can go on about your business. Don't come over here. This is our time. This is our stuff. But I also mostly want to show off South of Midnight. If you haven't played South of Midnight, please do. Please support this game. It looks awesome. I can't wait to play it. It's super cool. I've been excited about this game since the first trailer came out. I was like, man, South of Midnight looks awesome.
You know what else is awesome? Mission Impossible. That is right. Don't keep going. Keep going. As you may know, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning is currently in theaters, but we're taking it back. We're doing a retro review to 1996, the very first Mission Impossible, starring, of course, Tom Cruise. And if you don't know the summary, it's an American agent under false suspicion of disloyalty, must discover and expose the real spy without the help of his organization. As I mentioned, it stars Tom Cruise, John Voight, Emmanuel Beard.
Emmanuel Beard. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
I'm assuming it's French.
I think so.
Yeah.
Jean Reno, Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames. And many, many others. This is our retro review. So we haven't done a retro review in a minute. And I forget our rules. Do we normally have a non-spoiler?
We just spoil it. We just dive on in.
We just go right.
Dive on in.
1996.
That's right.
It's been 25 years.
Listen, if you haven't seen it, this movie...
21. 31.
Yep.
I'm not good with numbers, all right?
No, 30.
31. No, 29.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, because 30 would be if we were in 2026.
29.
No, 30. Oh, 90. Oh, 95. Okay, it's 96. Yeah, that's right. 29.
Yeah.
I was thinking 95.
I do my best with numbers.
Yeah. So, which it's fitting because the last current movie, Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, there's like callbacks to even this movie. It's supposed to be callbacking to all the movies from Mission Impossible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and now we're at the 7th one. So, like, this is actually a good time if you haven't seen Mission Impossible 1 to rewatch it, refresh yourself, catch up on a lot of the details that you probably have completely forgotten about that they're going to talk about in Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning.
Has anybody ever watched the TV series?
I've watched some of the TV series. I have not watched much, but I
just learned there was a TV series when watching this film and trying to look stuff up about it.
But I was gonna ask because I know when we talked about doing this retro review in our talk about things we were gonna do. Alex, I know you said you hadn't seen Mission Impossible 1 before, right?
Yes.
And then Jonathan, have you seen it before?
I think I had seen it like a long, long time ago, but I did not remember anything about it.
Gotcha. I watched it for the first time like a couple years back, and so it was actually nice to refresh myself again and watch it again. But what'd you think, Alex? What'd you think watching Mission Impossible 1 for the first time?
It was better than I thought it was gonna be. It was a much simpler plot than I was anticipating. It was a very straightforward thought. I don't want to say simpler. It was a very straightforward plot for this movie. I expected something more complicated because I think I've seen the Mission Impossible trailers as they've grown. The complexity of the story has grown absolutely throughout the years. So watching this one, I wasn't prepared for it's just this. I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. Easy plot to follow going on. I don't know if you guys had this problem, but I did when I was watching it. The audio was really low. Like the talking, I had to turn up my volume.
I
wore a little bit.
I had to wear my headphones for a lot of it because a lot of the time I was watching it on my tablet and I was like washing dishes and doing stuff, and I had to put in my headphones because I just couldn't hear.
Yeah, I watched it on my computer, and so I had my speakers to help me a little bit, but it was a bit low.
I was watching it on my TV, and I had to keep turning up the volume because I can hear, but I can't hear sometimes very well, especially when people are talking to me. Selective hearing. So I had to turn up the volume quite loud, and then all of a sudden music would play, and then it blare across my apartment. I'm like, fuck. Okay. Wasn't prepared for that. But it was actually a pretty decent movie. You know, coming into this, I don't think I really had that many like expectations for it. I think I was expecting something a little more complicated plot, as I said, because like spy movies tend to do that, which I don't really enjoy spy movies too much.
Same. I've realized that I think within the past year, I love a good heist movie, but I'm not really the biggest fan of spy movies. I kind of find them like, I don't know, kind of boring sometimes.
See, yeah. For me, it depends on the type of spy movie. Like, I like the Mission Impossibles because they are my favorite type of spy thing, in which it's gadgets, it's craziness. Like, the masks are super silly, and it's like, how the hell? Like in this movie, there's a Tom Cruise. Every mask he wears is supposed to be him as the actor.
Yeah.
But unless it's just a character who's clearly him with makeup on. But like there's one point where he impersonates Jon Voight, and his eye color. Then when he takes the mask off, his eyes are back to being Tom Cruise's eyes, who has a different eye color. And I'm like, what the hell? Did you take the contacts off too? The second you in the same one motion to take like the mask off of your face?
Cut off.
And it's like that's the silliness and stuff I kind of enjoy in my spy movie. It's why I've liked the Mission Impossible movies as they've grown in time to be more actiony but ridiculous like with the action, but not Fast and Furious level where it's like there's no fucking way you're still alive. You should be dead.
I'm still
Mission Impossible.
I'm still mad at that. Was it the last one or the one before last where that boulder rolled down? That entire...
It was a bomb. It wasn't even a boulder.
Yeah,
it was
the last one. And they ironically rolled around the Vatican, I think, or Rome.
Yeah. And they said no casualties. Nobody died.
That thing was crushing cars. It was like people were running screaming. You're telling me it didn't catch one person? It didn't catch a bird, a dog, something on the street?
But it's like, because like Mission Impossible, I mean, it helps a little bit that in Mission Impossible movies, Tom Cruise does his own stunts. So the stuff that you see him do, it's not like we used a stunt double or we use CG like it is in Fast and Furious, where they can't do those stunts. They physically can't do them or else someone would die. No, Tom Cruise is like, screw all that. The scene says I'm hanging off the side of a plane. So goddamn it, I'm hanging off the side of a plane. And like that's happening.
Why is it always that one stunt? It's never anything else that gets
because I think they're only allowing him one stunt. They're only allowing him one stunt because they're like, you're insane. We can't let you keep doing all these stunts. You get one crazy stunt. That's it.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's always hanging off the side of a plane.
Actually, the first one was a train.
The plane thing. The first one's the train and also the stunt when he blows up the aquarium. And the wire, too, as well. Yeah. The aquarium one, I actually looked this up. I found out a few fun facts about the movie because I wanted to, for the aquarium one, it says, it was Cruise's idea to do the scene in the restaurant with all the glass and the giant fish and lobster tanks. Originally, a stuntman was used, but Brian De Palma, the director of this movie, didn't like the way it looked. And so he asked Tom Cruise to do it, even though the scene involved 16 tons of water and there was a risk of drowning. Cruise, who has become synonymous with doing his own stunts, agreed. So that was like one of the first big stunts he ever did that was like a major crazy stunt that he did on his own of like being like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And after that, I started watching Mission Impossible 2 because I was just having so much fun watching Mission Impossible 1. Mission Impossible 2 starts with him free climbing the side of a mountain, and that is Tom Cruise doing it. It's like, oh, so you just went crazy after that and just started being like, damn it, every movie I'm doing something crazy. Because Mission Impossible 4, there's the like cyclone water stunt thing. He did
Is
that.
the one with Henry Cavill?
No, that's 6 or 5.
Wait, I thought this one is 6. The one that just came out.
No, the one that's coming out is 7. Because it's Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, something else. I don't know. I can't remember them all. But it's not the one with Henry Cavill. Number 4 is the one with Paula Patton. That was the one that reinvigorated Mission Impossible, because it was like Mission Impossible 3 came out, which did not do well.
Ghost Protocol
as well. And then, Ghost Protocol, Mission Impossible 4 came out years after Mission Impossible 3, and it reinvigorated Mission Impossible and got people back in like, oh, snap, Mission Impossible's back. And then they started making movies back to back like they are now. So, but in that movie, there's like this swirling kind of like whirlpool type thing, because in the movie, it's like, oh, you got to be in this tunnel to do such and such. And and while it's not exactly the way it looks in the movie, they to simulate that, they did something similar. And Tom Cruise was actually in there holding his breath for a long ass time underwater. And that was his big stunt for that movie. And so every movie since then, there's always one big stunt, like Alex said, that he does of varying kind, whether it be like in water or hanging off a plane or being on a train or something. He's doing something crazy. I think in the newest one, he's like jumping between planes or something like that. Like he's insane. He's a madman.
This one is the 8th one. Final Reckoning.
8th one. Okay. I was like, maybe my numbers are off.
I was a little, because I know Simon Pegg's in most of the Mission Impossibles. I was a little disappointed not to see him, but I found out he joins in the 3rd Mission Impossible.
Yeah. But it's cool that he's been around since then. The 3rd one. And that they even brought him back, because like I said, Mission Impossible 3 was like kind of, a lot of people consider that the end of the franchise.
He's been in them since Mission Impossible 3, so Simon Pegg's been part of it since then.
No, what I mean is that because of how 3 did reception wise, it would have made sense for when Mission Impossible 4 came out, because that's why it's not called Mission Impossible 4. It's called Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, because like he could have easily just been like, I'm getting a new crew, I'm getting a new gang of people, but instead he's like, no, I'm bringing back Ving Rhames, I'm bringing back Simon Pegg, they were great, and I'm bringing back, and then we're gonna have a few new people like Paula Patton and Jeremy Renner, who I think is in that movie as well. Like, in fact, all of the cast, because like Henry.
Wait, I think the 4th one is Simon Pegg's first. Oh no, he isn't.
No, he's been in the 3rd. He's been since the 3rd one, because that was also one of the reasons I was like okay to watch it, or was like, oh yeah, I like Simon Pegg, and I knew he was like in almost all of them. I just didn't know when he started in them, so I kind of assumed when we mentioned more doing for when the team dies at the beginning. Oh, he's gonna recruit Simon Pegg, because I think he's like the computer guy in the other movies.
Yeah, well, he's like the techie, because like Ving Rhames is the computer person, he's the hacker, but Simon Pegg is the one who, like, Benji is the one who creates like some of the gadgets. He's basically they took Emilio Estevez's character at the beginning of this movie, who's the hacker / techie person, and split him into 2 people, and those 2 people became Luther and Benji.
Which that guy, when he's introducing new tech to Tom Cruise's character, Ethan, he's showing him this piece of
like
gum.
The gum.
Yeah, and I did a TikTok on it because like my cough syrup soaked brain could not stop focusing on the fact, which I watched this movie, when I had a little bit of cough syrup going through me. A little bit of shout out to NyQuil for helping me sleep. Where he's like, hasta lasagna. And I don't know why that one line just would not leave my head. I was like, hasta lasagna. Hasta lasagna. Why is that one line just sticking in my head? But I was like, I really like when he's like, oh, yeah, hasta lasagna. When bread meets blue, get out of there. Or, damn it. I don't even know the line properly. I heard nothing past hasta lasagna. But I was like, that's kind of cool, the gum thing. But, like, I'm such a gum chewer, I would end up blowing myself up doing that. Forgetting that I have that piece in there and just being like, oh, thank God, gum.
or like, you know how sometimes if you leave a piece of, and that was loose gum. It didn't even have a wrapper.
No, it had a wrapper. He just showed him the loose thing so he could show him the color coded thing. Because later in the movie, he has a wrapper on it.
Yeah.
Regardless, you know how sometimes if you leave gum in your pocket, it gets all melted and like everything. Like, what if you accidentally left it in your? What if you accidentally put it in the wash, and then
well, it doesn't activate until you fold it. You gotta fold it to activate.
I know, but what if it gets folded? What if it gets folded? It gets melted and folded in your pocket or
that happens
in the wash?
in my backpack. That happens in my backpack all the time because I carry a laptop in there, so it gets heated because I forget to like turn it off completely. So it runs in my backpack. All of a sudden, all my gum is like broken and mushed. Yeah, no. Some of the tech was pretty interesting, but I don't know why I focused more on the gum than anything.
Listen. Okay, you would forget, but Ethan Hunt would never forget because Ethan Hunt's the type of guy that remembers people's faces after having the traumatic experience of having all his friends die and then going to a restaurant, and then he can tell you in great detail people who he recognized that you as the viewer of the movie didn't even remember. Being like, well that guy was behind this person and this person was behind this.
He didn't notice all his friends dying in the first scene, did he?
He noticed all them dying. He got bamboozled. He had to put it together. He had to put the pieces together.
Gaps were flaccid. I did like that one scene when the guy was in the elevator and he died because when he got like when he the thing went through his I wish
neck.
I remember characters' names.
Which I love the way that scene is filmed because you think,
Yeah,
oh, he's gonna do it, and then it's like, and then that thing comes out and it just goes to his face. They cut it real quick. It's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, you can see it like slowly pierce his eyes. I was like, that's actually a pretty good scene. I actually like that scene because it does give you that hope of like minutes, like, oh, he's gonna unplug it. He's gonna unplug it. He's like, oh no, this isn't working. And then you kind of expect that last moment save of somebody outside the elevator going to help you. But no, he just died that way.
That was a Final Destination type death.
For real. Although, here's the thing. What makes it even more surprising is the fact that it's Emilio Estevez. He was famous at that time. So it's kind of the same thing as a Drew Barrymore effect from Scream, where Drew Barrymore was mega famous when Scream came out. So when she dies at the beginning of that movie, it's like, well, who the hell is the cast of the movie then? Because Drew Barrymore's the most famous person on the damn cast list.
I like when movies do that. Like we all saw that movie Life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When we worked at IMAX. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Life, audience. Fast forward like a minute. But when Ryan Reynolds dies at the beginning of that, and he was like in all the promo, he was like on the poster in all the promo and everything, and he dies at the beginning of the movie.
I was surprised. However, I was like, you're not the most famous person in this cast list. So you were destined to die.
Yeah,
somebody had to go.
I think he's on par with who was in the movie?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Because you had Rebecca Ferguson and Jake Gyllenhaal in that movie.
Oh,
who
he's
were
on
just
par
as
with
famous.
them.
He's on par with Rebecca Ferguson. I will say he hasn't maybe had the career of Jake Gyllenhaal, but Jake Gyllenhaal has like the famous family dynasty behind him too. So like that like kind of bumps him up. You got that nepotism that kind of unevens the game a little bit. But Ryan Reynolds was like the eye candy of that movie. So it's shocking when they take out the pretty ones right away.
Also, he had Deadpool to
stay a little longer. Fair enough.
He's like, I can't be here.
Deadpool to film.
Yeah,
I had Deadpool to do. I can't be here.
But yeah, the way they killed everybody at the beginning was very interesting because you're like, oh, it's a spy movie. He needs his team, and then you take away his team. So I like that a lot. That was one of the where I like that bait and switch thing they got going on, which is something I always enjoy in films. And then it was interesting. They kept calling the list, which kind of annoyed me, the no-co list?
The knock list.
Knock list. And my brain kept forgetting what the knock list was. I was like, why are they after this list again? And I'm like, oh, right. To undercover agents' names. I got it. So my brain kept doing that. But that's just a personal thing I got going on with my brain. Has nothing to do with the story. I understand why they needed the acronym. They're not going to say unofficial list every single time. So like I said, the plot was actually a very straightforward plot. Guy loses his team. They think he's the mole. He's spending the rest of the movie proving he's not the mole by stealing the list to show like, hey, like, look, I found out it's actually being sold to this person. Here's the safety of the list. And like finding out that the person he trusted most betrayed him to is all just like a very formulated plot, which I enjoyed when you're watching something like Mission Impossible, the first installment of the movie. You know what I mean? Because if you're starting off a movie, and I don't know if they anticipated this to be a franchise or not. I don't know if they were just going off the original TV series because I have not seen it. But when you're starting off a franchise and you already have this insanely unnecessary, complicated, convoluted story and plot going on, it's like, okay. And I know as movies progress, they get more messy, they get more twists, more characters, more like it's going to be too much. And I'm like, I'm out. I was like, I just don't want to deal with it.
I think they were planning on having it be a franchise.
Well, it's hard to say because
because it's based off of a popular, and I don't know that much about the TV series, but I'm assuming that the TV series was popular back in the day.
It was very popular. They even brought it back because it ended in the 70s and then they brought it back in the 80s with the same cast of people. Like the old cast just came back older and we're just the same old people doing missions.
Well, there you go. You already have an established fan base for this franchise. And at the end, it's like, okay, he's already on to the next mission. Like the very last scene in the movie, he's already on to the next mission. So it's like TBC, to be continued.
Yeah.
So I think they were planning on having it be a franchise.
I think, they were definitely hoping for it.
Why I say I'm unsure if it was meant to be a franchise or if it was just to make a really fun movie is because there was a lot of risk with this series because the series was made by Tom Cruise, like a movies. The plan originally was like this was the first. He wanted this to be like the first of his production company's set of movies, because he loved the TV series so much that he was like, I want to make a Mission Impossible movie to like follow the TV series. And so when that's the origin of your movie, it's a gamble on whether or not, because we've seen this happen and fail. Look at what happened with The Rock. He thought for sure Black Adam was going to be the resurgence to like essentially allow him to take over the DC universe and start a whole DC line of movies. And while Black Adam wasn't awful, it also wasn't good enough to justify to a studio, let alone to audiences, that, oh yeah, we're headed in a good direction with the DC movies.
So but also the comic book world is another giant.
I'm just saying, like, and like when you got a built-in fan base. Franchise. And what's really interesting too is this movie pissed off the original fan base a little bit.
It pissed off the people who were in Mission Impossible.
The original
cast. I was reading that too. They offered the original cast.
They were just mad they weren't
be in the movie. They offered them to be in it, and they're like, "No, we're not having part in it." Yeah, I was just reading about it. They were like, "You can come back," and they were like, "No, we don't want a Mission Impossible movie."
Well, no, actually, why they didn't come back is because the original plan, the plan was always for Ethan Hunt to be the new main character and a new cast. They wanted to bring back the old cast so that they could kill them off. And all of them were like, well, no, we don't want to come back to just die. If we're coming back to be characters. And that's also why they were really pissed, because Jon Voight's character, who plays Jim Phelps was the original main character of the original Mission Impossible series. And that's why the main cast was really pissed when the twist of this movie is that Jim Phelps is a bad guy and he dies. He's the main villain of the movie. And everyone was like, everyone who was the original cast of the original hated that. They were like, what the hell? You basically undid so basically because this technically is canon with the original TV series, even though it's technically not, but it you could kind of assume it is.
You can, it doesn't because technically Jim
TV
worked
series.
With everybody.
Yeah. So, and because Jon Voight's older than everybody, you could assume that like the TV series still happened, and then we just fast forwarded into the 90s, and now we've got Tom Cruise and the new crew. But it's like, so basically, you have these years of this guy being a great dude, and then he hits the 90s and becomes a jackass and goes as far as to kill his whole team at the time and his wife, and then be an asshole. So a lot of them were
change.
So they were really the original
people.
Cast was really pissed when they saw this movie.
I I hope they for those that are still, if there are any that
I
are
think
still,
some of them are still alive, like some of the original cast is still
you know
alive.
how hey, that show was in the mid 60s. So
I love the laugh I have right now because I don't have a sore throat, but like I just been coughing a lot. I have this like snickering laugh at the moment, and it's just my laugh makes me laugh now. I just sound like I'm snickering all the time, like I'm ready to discuss my evil plot.
I love that. But if any of them, and it was probably a thing of I'm gonna stand by my castmates, because there was one or two of them who were like, "Dang, I kind of do want to be in this movie, but I can't look like I'm crossing the picket line." If those ones,
I wonder if they were like pissed because they were like,
"Hey, Steve, you coming with us, right?" Yeah, sure. Right.
I wonder if they were like pissed because they were like trying to convince the other people, like, let's just do it, man. Like we can get paid, and now seeing all the success of it, be like, yes, they could have.
They could have still been living off of these movies to this day, like from the 60s to now, literally to 2025.
So of the cast that's living, most of them are either in their, like, there's only like, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them still alive, and most of them are in their 80s, and 2 of them are in their 90s.
With all due respect,
Jerome,
how many people were in the original cast? You can't say 5 are remaining when I don't know the total number. Like,
so of those who
is it
like,
really
I'm
sad?
Main cast characters.
Yeah, is it really sad that there's only 5
of the
remaining?
main cast? Those who
have
passed away, who are part of the main cast, are Peter Graves, who played Jim Phelps, so the original like Jim Phelps. Greg Morris, who played Bernard, so Bernard, who Kittredge is hanging with in this movie, that was his character back in the day, or Barney. Martin Landau was in the original cast. Stephen Hill, who played Dan Briggs, and Leonard Nimoy actually was in the original cast of Mission Impossible as Paris, a character named Paris.
So it's half and half.
Oh.
So a little half and half, yeah. And also another surprise person who was in the original cast who I didn't know about, Sam Elliott, who played a character named Doug Robert, was in the original cast of Mission Impossible.
How old was he back then? Like,
how old is he
he
now?
must have been young.
I don't know. Now he's 80.
Oh, he's 80. Oh, wow. I did not think he was that old.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So
I thought he was like in his 60s.
Yeah, he must have been really young, though.
The oldest one is Barbara Bain, who played a character named Cinnamon Carter.
Okay.
Alongside her, and she was married to Martin Landau at that time when they did the show, so that's kind of cool. But that's like,
I wonder so which you, because not all of them were like, not all of them were that outraged with the movie. There were a few that were like, dang, I kind of want to do this, but I can't look like a traitor.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
Sam Elliott would have been 22. I just wanted to look that up. He would have been 22. That's young. I kind of want to watch it now just to see him. I want to know what he looks like that young.
Well, here, I can actually give you a picture now.
Oh, okay. Because you always have those actors that have always looked old.
There he is.
Wow.
That is not the same person. Wow, that he does not look the same.
He does not look 22.
Yeah,
now, granted, I don't know if this is the exact picture when he first was on the show. This could have just been a picture from when he was just on the show, and because the show ran for years, so he may not have been 22. The one who was most surprised was Peter Lupus, because that's what he looked like back then. This is what he looks like now. At 92, he looks good. He still looks virtually the same. I mean, you could tell he's aged. Definitely.
He definitely dyes his hair. He
definitely dyes his hair. Now that's for a fact. That is not his natural hair
black
color. There's no way. It is not that black. But virtually, I mean, he doesn't look 92. Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
For his age. There's Barbara Bain as Cinnamon Carter, who's got that femme fatale look for sure.
Mm-hmm.
She looks good.
Yeah. And then here's Leslie Ann Warren, who played Dana.
She looks good too.
Oh, she looks fantastic.
Granted, how recent are these the recent photos?
This article is from is April.
Well, it says their age up there, so we're looking at least what they look like at that age.
And this was April 9th. Is when this article is posted. So these are
my
fairly
birthday.
recent pictures.
Hey.
Yeah, there isn't a. I think this is the closest they have to pictures of Linda Day George as Lisa Casey, for Mission Impossible from her Instagram, I guess, or Facebook. Yeah, Facebook. So, and she's 80, but she looks great too.
Wait, it said she was open to something.
There's
scroll up. Oh, sorry. Huh? Scroll down. There you go. She was open. Oh, she was last seen in the 1989 reprisal of Mission Impossible, but said in 2021 she was open to coming back to Hollywood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then here you go, Alex. There's Leonard Nimoy in the back there as Paris. And then I think that's the dude who plays Jim Phelps, who was in Airplane, also one of my favorite movies of all time. But yeah, like Mission Impossible, back in the day. But I can see their frustration for sure, because it's one thing to just have the characters come back. It's another thing to basically make them they make one of the classic characters and more importantly the main character an asshole when he comes back.
Also, because from what it looks like, they ran for 7 to 8 seasons. So when you work that long on a show, it becomes also something very personal to you, and to be like, yeah, these bunch of kids are taking over what Mission Impossible is and making it their own. And even it's gotta hit, be like, no, this is supposed to be our thing. And it's just taking it.
Especially it can also feel like you're not it'd be one thing if they made Jim Phelps when he did die. I feel like they would have been cool if when he dies in the movie in the first time, he died on a mission. They could have been okay, well, he was cool. He showed up. They did justice to the character, but he still died. And it's okay, they homage to the show. The fact that they make him not just a bad guy, a ruthless bad guy. He does not care. There's no goodness left in him anymore.
What I also like about this film is the clues that lead you to find out that Jim's the bad guy, because you're seeing it through Tom Cruise's character Ethan's perspective. When he finds the Bible that was taken from the Chicago hotel where Jim's character had just had a mission, and he figures out that Claire is involved. And it's really cool because they, again, in spy movies, they, make it intensified when you find clues, They make it the room spinning and the character all of a sudden has vertigo and really suspenseful move. They try to make it a cinematic moment. In Mission Impossible, when he found a clue, when he figured something out, he looked at it for a second, he paused, and you felt it in the moment.
The knife, it was this, for example, I forgot about the knife. When rewatching the film, I was like, oh wow, they set up the knife really early. So when Krieger shows up, played by Jean Reno, and he has the same knife, I was like, oh wow, that's already set up. If you're watching and you're paying attention, you'll already be like, isn't that the knife he pulled out of a homegirl's stomach from where she got stabbed? Yeah. That's crazy. Which also, though, makes me question, I'm sorry, did this man go back and get the knife? Because he left initially the 2 bodies on the gate, ran away, then Ethan finds the bodies, then he runs away. Was Krieger just hiding, waiting, and be like, that was my favorite knife, I'm coming back for that knife. I
gotta get leave evidence behind. You don't want to leave evidence behind.
I guess that's true. Well, he had gloves on, though, when he stabbed her, so there's no fingerprints.
But that knife can be incriminating.
I guess that's true. Yeah. It is his favorite
that's
knife.
How they figured
he
out
uses
stuff,
it all
right?
the time.
They probably know that he has it on him all the time. But yeah, things like that. The one thing I will say, when we're talking about cinematography and the cameras, there's a lot of low shots that I started kind of giggling at, where when they're in the restaurant talking, and Tom Cruise that just kind of getting the idea that they think I'm a mole. They have the camera down here facing me up, and then they have the there's a lot of low angle shots when I think it was moments where he was putting things together.
When it gets intense, Brian De Palma loves his Dutch angles and his low angles. Those are the two things he loves more than anything else, is his Dutch angles and his low angles, because he uses a lot of them. Especially the Dutch angles. He loves them Dutch angles.
I think also something about just the film as a whole, I noticed that there wasn't as much action as I expected there would be from Mission Impossible. There was a lot of like development and a lot of dialogue, and not as much music as you would normally find in even a Mission Impossible today. There was a lot of moments of just like quiet and stillness, which I don't know how I feel about, because I tend to, in these types of movies, I'm like, give me the action. But it was a little refreshing, but it was also kind of off-putting at the same point, because I'm like, there was about maybe a third of the movie that was, you know, the famous Mission Impossible, the scene where he's hanging on the wire, or the scene at the end on the train, which, by the way, I think they used a lot of their budget for that for those
probably. But actually, they did, because fun fact about the train. So when it says here, to make the climax on top of the train look convincing, Cruise wanted a wind machine so powerful it could potentially knock him off the train. So he found one machine in Europe capable of doing it. The perks of, because of how famous he was, presumably, with that shot winds up to 140 miles per hour in that scene, so that they could distort Tom Cruise's face on the front. So I'm sure a big part of that budget, damn sure, was that damn fan, that wind machine.
When you mentioned the scene where he's hanging from the ceiling, I always saw that scene with the music on top of it, the Mission Impossible music. I didn't know that it was completely silent during that entire thing. So I was like kind of waiting for the music. I was like, oh, it's quiet, which makes sense because they're trying to show like he's in there. You have to be quiet. You can't, temperature, everything, because that room specifically is designed to, unless the person who's supposed to be in there isn't in there, there is a temperature sensor, there is a floor sensor, a sound sensor, and I think something else.
You can't
a laser grid in the vent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can't make noise above a whisper.
Which I love. That whole scene is directed beautifully. It ramps up the tension exactly the way it's supposed to. You get all of the information you need, even the stuff happening outside the room with Luther and Claire doing their bits to help out. Like, you get all of the stuff you need. And then when that rat comes in, I'm like, oh, shit. Because it was going swimmingly at first. And then when the rat shows up, it's like, oh, no. What are you going to do? And it's a really great scene. And then when he drops that rope and Tom Cruise just hanging there, and then that bead of sweat is dripping down that glass.
I'm like, just put your hand out. I'm like, put your hand out. And then he did.
Like, it's just like everything about that scene is which is crazy to hear how this movie went so well, because another fun fact I found out is that basically Brian De Palma, who's the director, didn't like the script when they started shooting. So a lot of stuff they were like making up as they went. They were writing, and a lot of movies do this, but it's just the fact of like this being the first movie, you would think they would have a solid script before they shoot anything. They were like fixing scenes and changing things as they were shooting the movie. So the fact that it came together the way it did is honestly impressive for it to come together. And also, to your point of also why the action sequences kind of feel like, or a lot of the movie doesn't feel like it's as action packed. One of the things might be because there's no gunfights in this movie. Not one. And that's a big comment that people have made about this movie compared to the others. Because the others, they have, guns, people shoot people or whatever. The only gun in this movie is Jon Voight shooting himself in the beginning and then shooting Claire at the end. That's it. Other than that, they never shoot anybody in this movie. People don't shoot people. So all the action sequences, which I appreciate, because all the action sequences then have to be more creative. Like, it's hanging, like, instead the tension's from hanging from a vent down into like a room with all these like triggers, or on the train with like fighting a helicopter. But the only thing fighting the helicopter is really the damn train tunnel, because there's nothing you could do, because he was about to lose his head if not for the helicopter blades hitting the back of the tunnel and throwing off the helicopter.
No, he threw the piece of gum again.
No. Before that, when Krieger's intentionally trying to cut his head off with the blade.
Oh,
and he
okay,
points
yeah.
it down.
I was like, wait, I remember clearly. It was the gum again. That gum played a big role in Mission Impossible. How many strips of gum did he have?
I guess he had just 2. So he had just enough.
I feel like he probably, like, if you had like I'm trying to double mint style gum.
Yeah.
You know what's
double mint gum.
I mean, it's
had the
double
juicy
purpose.
fruit ready.
I did like when that end scene when the helicopter does blow up and Tom Cruise hits the train again and the window shatters. You just have the conductor there.
Yep.
He's just like
watching this.
He's like, just like so still, and he's just like, should I do something? Should I leave? Should I call this? Like, I don't know the protocol for this, and I just love how they had him there stunned. It was just so funny. Yeah, just hide out.
I feel like I would need a trial run with that gum, because I feel like I would need to, get the hang of it and how it works and how it moves and folds.
You don't trust Emilio Estevez to give you gum that explodes when he says it explodes. It's going to explode.
If he's the one giving me the gum, then he should know that I would probably accidentally chew it. So, like, if you're doing things like giving me certain gadgets, you gotta know. You can't give me like a clickable pen that's gonna release gas, because I'm a fidgeter. I fidget with everything.
Alex, it's like that TikTok. Have you seen the TikTok where it's like my first day as an assassin, and you pour the what? Have you seen this, Jerome?
Yeah, and then
you
like,
no, and then you stir it, and then you
There's
lick
a video
it, and then
I've
seen
of another person who did a sketch of that, of like your first day being assassin. He's killing everybody but the person he's supposed to be murdering. I will ask you both this, because because when I first watched it, unfortunately, when I first watched Mission Impossible, while I had not seen the movie, I had been spoiled that Jim was the traitor. So I watched that when I watched Mission Impossible 1 for the first time, I already knew who the bad guy was. But did you guys like clock who the traitor was when you were watching it, or did you just did your guesses keep changing as like the story went on, or did you just not trust Claire from the beginning? Or
I didn't trust Claire from the beginning.
Same. I think same. I think I didn't trust Claire. I didn't realize that Homeboy was gonna come back to life and end up being the bad guy. So
yeah, I will say that too. I didn't think he was coming back, but Claire, right away I knew. He saw you get into the car. You blew up, and now you're like, I didn't get in the car. I got it. Liar. That door shut. At no point did the door reopen. I'm like, you liar. That was a dud, absolute dud. I'm like, you cannot be trusted. So that I knew was coming. I didn't see his like friend coming back to life and screwing him over, being like, haha.
Although I love when he's just like, when he's mad, because he's like, when he says that line, like, thou shalt covet another man's wife. I'm like, you act like you're not the one that left her out here to to possibly get with Ethan. She could have like what are you talking about? Nothing has ever happened, which although nothing happened in the movie, but apparently another thing.
There was a deleted scene.
So according to, I'm on yardbarker.com, which is has this thing of like fun facts about this movie. One of the things it says is originally there was a love triangle sequence early in the movie between Ethan Hunt, Jim Phelps, and Claire Phelps' wife. However, it was removed at the suggestion of De Palma's friend George Lucas. Lucas said it took the audiences out of the movie because it was out of the genre, because it basically turned it from being a spy movie to now it's like a romantic drama. So he was like, De Palma agreed and nixed it. So there were scenes or ideas, I guess, that that implied that like Ethan and Claire were possibly like having romantic stuff going on. But because they cut it, it feels a little one-sided. Like Ethan might think of Claire that way, but he's never going to go there because he's like, I'm a professional. Jim's my friend. You know, you're married to him. I'm not doing that. And then after Jim dies, he's like, I'm a professional. I'm focused on the job right now. Despite Claire Like, especially that scene when she like calls him over and she's kissing on his hand, and then the scene just cuts, and I'm like, that could have easily, in a worse movie, that could have easily been the lead up to a sex scene between those two characters. And I'm glad it doesn't. It just ends there with him being like, well, first of all, because he also is like already has suspicions that she's the traitor, but also B, because I'm like, don't do that. Like, don't.
I will say I did like that about the film, because one of the things I hate like heavily in horror films is when you all of a sudden you're running from a killer. Well, let's go have sex real quick. It's like, now is not the time. Priorities. If you want to throw the sex scene in before people are dying, makes sense. Afterwards, not so much.
Or it's like the world is ending, so we need to, make love, so we have one. We can go out on a high note.
Yeah, and it's so
like
stupid.
That's time we could have saved. Them 5 minutes could have been the difference between us living or dying.
Yeah, and so what I like about Mission Impossible is they didn't fall into that, which, like, good for them. Instead, they kind of gave Ethan a little PTSD because he originally sees Jim a hallucination, and he can't tell the difference between the hallucination and Claire at the beginning when she first comes back. And I was like, that's good. And so much so when Jim actually comes back, he's like, you're not real. You're real? Maybe that. So they leaned into that a little more, which I liked. And like, yeah, he's right now technically the most hunted man, and he's trying to prove his innocence. He's got a heist to plan. Like, this is his friend's, who's dead at the time's wife. Like, he died on Tuesday, and you're trying to sleep with her on Friday? Like, that makes me not like you as a character. So, like, the fact that they didn't fall into that was cool. And the fact that they kind of showed how Claire was, like, begging for his life did kind of show that she had feelings for Ethan, which is kind of why, like, Jim ended up killing her. It was almost like, and wanting to frame Jim too in a way, was like, I knew she had feelings for him, so that's why I wanted him specifically to go down, even though Ethan may not have been involved at all. And like, he knew he couldn't trust Claire because he knew she had feelings for him. Made it like a really kind of also good base of like why maybe Jim turned on Ethan too. He's like, I want to get this money. Who should I make into the mole? Well, screw you. My wife likes you, so we're going to destroy you, which is kind of like a nice hidden touch that I did get the vibe from.
Already, I was like, first of all, I'm surprised you pulled her anyway. You old. You see her? She's my age. As like, we're the same age. You are not.
That's what I was shocked about as well. I was like, when I heard wife, I was like, oh. There's a significant age gap.
Age gap. But I mean, it's good. I mean, I like the actors, all the actors. I think the best thing about this movie that sells it too. Everyone on the actor standpoint is great. Every single one. They do their characters very well. I will say, like, Emmanuelle Béart, though, I think she definitely really leans into that like femme fatale.
I was about to say femme
vibe.
Yeah.
Like, and not in a bad way, just in a like, you are playing on type, like hard. So if like, and it only works because we're in genre. Like, this is the spy genre. Femme fatale is a very common thing, and you know, she definitely has the like. But I like that. Despite that, though, they don't have her do the femme fatale stuff. Like, when she's doing missions, her job on the mission isn't just, well, you need to go seduce the senator while we go do all the other cool things. It's like, no, when they go do their heist, her job is to take this pen and inject this dude and then also put a tracer on the guy, like, do regular spy things. The fact that she's a woman does not mean that she isn't, that she only has to use her feminine wiles or whatever to do spy work. It's like, no, she's just a regular spy. The only thing that makes her different than everyone else on the team is her gender. That's it. Her skill sets are the same. Her abilities are the same. Her competency is the same. She's a spy, just like everybody else. And that's cool. I appreciate that. And Mission Impossible, to their credit, has always been like that in the movies. Like, it's why people really love Rebecca Ferguson in the later movies, where she's just as good as Ethan is, if not better, as a spy. She can do all the things he can do with ease, ride motorcycles, shoot guns, do stunt, like, fight fist to fist, hand to hand. Like, she could do it all. So it's like, that's awesome. And now they got Haley Atwell, I think, doing the same thing in the newest movies. So I really dug her role as a character in the movie. And it's a shame that she's not in the rest of them, because it would have been nice to see her. But I get it. Like, she's a bad guy, technically. I do think it's interesting. Henry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm going to say Zerny, who plays Kittredge, though. What's really interesting, he's still in the movies. He's in the new one right now as the same character. Kittredge, he plays the main agent who's against Ethan Hunt as Agent Kittredge.
Oh, yes.
Like, it's interesting, like, who's remained in this franchise from the very beginning. Like, Ving Rhames also as well, of course. But Ving Rhames is like, this is like his bread and butter. He loves doing these like types of like popcorn movies and things. But just I don't think there's a single person who has been in a Mission Impossible movie who's like died or who hasn't died, that when they get the call, they don't be like, yeah, let's do it, I'll come back.
He has been in a lot of. Sorry,
hey, when it's like the Fast and Furious, when you got something that lines your pockets up and it's a consistent job, you say yes to that call every single time.
I mean, that's fair.
Especially when you're not getting I feel like many callbacks for stuff.
Okay, actually, I stand corrected. So he was in this movie and he wouldn't come back until these last two as the same character. And Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. And okay, this is what's confusing though. The last one before the one that's out now, Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. But the next one would not be called Part 2. It's just Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning.
Do you think they're going to stop here, or then they're going to have Reckoning Awakening?
So there's been a lot of questions about that, actually, funny enough. I know you're a little joking, but because
in all fairness, I am always a little bit joking, but always a little bit serious. I don't know how to change the tone of my voice all the time. And just, that's what you can take it as any way you want.
Well, because Tom Cruise is kind of insane. And so there's talks of, instead of him doing more Mission Impossible movies, because this is supposed to be the last one. So, but the implication is from Tom Cruise, the person, is that he's going to instead do another Top Gun because of how well Top Gun Maverick did. And then he's also possibly talking about doing a sequel to Days of Thunder, to which I was like, who the hell is asking for a sequel to Days of Thunder? that movie is so old, but it's a Tom Cruise led movie. So,
but I will say this. I will say with Tom Cruise, not a fan too much. Two things I will say. Usually I don't like his face. Say. Well, I don't like his face, but
and the run.
No, I was going to say when he put on those glasses, I was like, okay, not bad. Something about Tom Cruise and glasses. That being 1996 Tom Cruise and glasses, I was like, all right. I'm watching the movie a little more closely now. But also, with the Tom Cruise films that he's doing, the sequels, he is so actively a part of it. I think almost that's what's making these sequels so popular and end up actually being good, is because he was very involved in the original and now he's very involved in the sequels, and he's like, these are my movies, these are how I want them done. When a lot of times you kind of just see these sequels being made for like money, or like, it's a new director, it's a new blah blah blah, we're making new things, and that. He's like, no, I know exactly what I want for the sequel. It's going to be a new story, but it's going to be the story that is part of the franchise I've already created. And that's at least a decent way to start making a sequel, even if it's years later, is that you don't forget what you've created in the original films. You don't forget the stories you've told and just be like, it's a whole new story, forget everything you've seen in the past. No, he's like, this is what we built it on, this is what we're going to continue building it on. And I will give Tom Cruise that. when he is making a sequel of a movie, he's like, I remember the last movie we did, and we're going to build from that, and we're going to move forward from that, instead of being like, you can just forget about everything. Forget the whole logic and lore and all the rules from before. This is our new set of rules. Everything is different. And it's like, then people are like, well, this sucks, man. This is not what we were coming to pay for. We were coming to pay for the sequel of. Instead, we're getting this like wannabe writing off the back of the original film we all once loved before.
And he's passionate about his movies. Remember when that audio leaked of him cussing out the crew for not following COVID protocols?
Yeah.
For the last
one? I love that everybody was on his side on that one, as they should have been. Because if to Tom Cruise, like, especially as a person like that, like, if you're trying to be in the industry, nobody was making anything. The only people working were people that were either working for a studio that like had the ability to have the money to operate during COVID, so with like heavy COVID restrictions, or studios that were like had such a tiny team that they didn't have to worry about it, so they could easily quarantine and be like, okay, well, none of us have COVID, we're all just going to live basically here at the studio and make our movie like with our small crew of like 5 or 6 people and our small cast of 5 or 6 people, and then like that's it. Those are the only ones, and those were a very rare few, and even then people were still getting sick. Like I remember on the Batman, they had to stop filming on that set because I think Robert Pattinson caught COVID, and that's a Warner Brothers studio lot. They have all the money in the world to keep people 6 feet apart and buy masks, and hand sanitizer, like all the PPE equipment you could possibly need. Still had an outbreak. So when Tom Cruise like talked to them like a parent, giving their kids a full lecture, belt in hand, ready to start shopping like Paul Bunyan, you better believe all of us were like, you damn right. Tell him, Tom. Tell him what time it is.
Yeah. As somebody who works in healthcare and had to work during COVID, going in every day, the amount of times I wanted to scream at people because they would start pulling down your mask. I'm like, do you want to take the phone calls I'm taking every day? Because you'll learn to keep that fucking mask up. They're like, oh, it's just like, no, fuck you. All right. I had to be there. I had to be at the office every day. I had to be working there. And like, I won't say, what I did during that time, but like goddamn, that was the only time I was like willing to agree with Tom Cruise, was because the amount of times I just wanted to scream at people who told me it was no big deal, who are like, I don't need to really wear a mask, or telling me that I could take down my mask because they weren't scared. I was like, first of all, who are you to tell me to do anything? Secondly, no. Just no. And it's not that hard. You're breathing just fine. You know how I know you're breathing? Because I've worn this for 18 hours. You can wear it for 45 minutes while talking to the doctor. You can survive. All right? Outside this, I'd still hate it, but whatever, your life, however you want to go, you go. But like, just simple rules. And the fact that I felt like a lot of people couldn't follow it is when I started losing hope in humanity, being like, I don't know if you're selfish. I don't know if you're stupid. I don't know what. But like, you're making it my problem, and now I have to deal with it. And like, it's the simplicity of following these. Sorry, I'm gonna end there because I could just go on with that. But
it's like, but you're all right though. I think granted, I'm not the world's biggest Tom Cruise fan. Like I don't love every single movie he's ever done. But I do respect the man's work ethic. I think he is one of those people in the current Hollywood space, because people give Keanu Reeves a lot of credit for the amount of work he does on the John Wick movies, and even other movies that aren't John Wick that he's been a part of as of late, especially, but even back in the day when he was younger. And I feel like Tom Cruise is in the same space of he's a guy who, like, if he can't do it himself, he won't threaten somebody else to do it. Like, as a stunt person, like, he's willing to put his body on the line. He's willing to, like, really take his stuff seriously when it comes to making his projects. And especially because he has his own production company, so he's in charge, so he can do what he wants. And so within that, like when he hires a director, when he hires a writer, like he's like, I pick the people I think that will make this project the best version of that project it can be. It's why Mission Impossible has had so many directors. I think one of the few directors who's ever come back to do another film afterwards, because Brian De Palma didn't do the second one. I forget who did this. John Woo did the second one, who's a big time action director. And then after him, I don't remember who did Mission Impossible 3. I want to say, was it J.J. Abrams? I don't think. Yeah, it was. J.J. Abrams did the third one. And then the fourth
Abrams, and then Brad Bird.
Brad Bird did the fourth one.
And then Christopher McQuarrie has done all of them since.
Yeah, and Christopher McQuarrie, which granted, I think Christopher McQuarrie's made the best ones, but it's why Tom Cruise keeps hiring him. Because he's like, Chris knows how I want these movies made. He catches the vibe. Now, one could say on one hand, like to play devil's advocate, Tom Cruise can be a bit of a control freak with that because he is very specific about the people he wants to work with, the people he wants to do whatever. And it's like, normally the actor is not the person making those calls. The studio is, but because it's his studio, his production company, he's the one in charge. So it's like a little bit of a control freak thing because it's like, okay, so you want to be in the movie, but you also want to make all the decisions behind the scenes about the movie, but you don't want to be the one actually in the because it's like what is it, like 3 degrees away from being Tyler Perry. Because Tyler Perry, at least, like, we can blame him entirely for what happens in the movies because he's the one writing, directing, producing, sometimes acting in all of these movies and TV shows. But in Tom Cruise's case, he's just normally the producer and then the actor. And then he hires a director, he hires writers, he hires, like, the rest of them.
Until the day comes when the Mission Impossibles are filming and they film for about 3 days and then they're done.
That's fair, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he is on the level of a Tyler Perry, okay? Do not mince my words, all right? Tom Cruise is 3,000 leagues way higher in production value and quality than Tyler Perry will ever be. If he keeps on the same route he's in. Because Tyler Perry can get there if he wants to. But still, nonetheless, I appreciate, like I say all that to say, I appreciate Tom Cruise's work ethic as a movie star, as one of the especially the last of the movie stars, because there's not a lot of them left who have the power that Tom Cruise has. Like, very few people have that privilege in this day and age, and I don't think there's any new actors that have that power that Tom Cruise has currently. Like, I can't think of any. Maybe the closest might be
Timothée Chalamet,
maybe. I was gonna say Margot Robbie, who's produced a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Close.
Like I would say, like,
of people who have like produced and stuff.
Well, of people who are at that same level where if they want to make a movie, they could just say, I want to make a movie and start making decisions, making stuff happen, and then just make the movie and then be in the movie on top of that.
I think Chalamet is on his way. He's on his way.
I think Zendaya is also
Zendaya, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, Zendaya. Like, she could literally go up to a director and be like, I want to make a movie. And they're like, yes. What do you want?
I think she has, well, not to mention Malcolm and Marie.
Malcolm and Marie was kind of that. Yeah.
But I know she's producing.
How did you rate that now? 5 years later.
That was...
We're gonna do an anniversary of Malcolm and
Marie. Right. We need to. We actually should. We should do a rewatch.
We should do Redux reviews because there are some movies we've reviewed and I've been like, you know what? I was too nice. I should have been harder. Looking back, or in reverse, there's some movies I've been like, man, I was a real asshole. I could have been nicer.
Right.
I stand by all my grades.
I know she is producing a movie where she's gonna play Ronnie Spector. It's an autobiography, or not autobiography, but biopic. But anyway, to your point, Jerome, like I was just gonna say, like, Tom Cruise, this is one of the movies that has helped him become the household name that he is, as you were mentioning, one of the last movie stars. If you go to virtually any country anywhere in the world, they will know who Tom Cruise is. Mm-hmm. He is just that global movie star icon. He's pretty synonymous when you think of American film. A lot of people, when you think of who's an American movie star, you think of Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
so he's definitely, made a name for himself.
Like one of the few people that's on his same level in that regard is like Will Smith, for example. Like, and even then, I don't know about any more. Like back in the Independence Day days, and like a little bit after that, like maybe now.
Maybe like Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie.
Brad Pitt's still there. Yeah, I would say Brad Pitt. Who'd you say, Alex?
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. I can see that.
That man is Asian like fine wine. God damn. Sorry.
But, like I think like, so I have a lot of respect for Tom Cruise. You know what I mean? I may not love every movie he does, and I still think he's crazy, but.
Oh no, he's insane. And his religion's insane.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, no.
I respect Tom Cruise as a filmmaker. As a person, there's a whole other discussion in regards to my thoughts about Tom Cruise.
Like to make that like disclaimer too. We are speaking of the actor and director style going on.
Yeah, like as a filmmaker, as the man who makes these movies, I have a lot of respect for Tom Cruise's work ethic in making these films and how he gets it done. I think there's not a lot of people in the industry that has his level of professionalism when it comes to making quality movies every single time. Like, every time, anything he does, it's going to be quality. It does not matter. And if it's not going to be quality, I'm not in it. I said no at the top because I knew it wasn't going to be quality. And so it's like, I have a lot of respect for him, Keanu Reeves, Margot Robbie, so many other actors think like him in that regard as filmmakers and as artists. And so I dig it.
Same.
Yep.
On that note, I guess we don't really do grades on retro reviews.
We don't. But here's my question from you guys: do you think with this new Mission Impossible being the last one in the franchise, do you think someone could pick up the mantle and do it and restart? Like, because I think one of the coolest things about this being Mission Impossible is that it basically takes the show and reboots the franchise, but as movies instead of a TV show. And because Jim Phelps still exists, he just dies in the first one, and then from there we have a new crew of people. So if they rebooted Mission Impossible again with a new gang, do you think they could do it, or do you think it would have to have Tom Cruise and everybody like that?
It don't matter if I say if they can do it or should do it. All I know is that they will do it eventually. The reason why, are you all right, Alex?
No, I'm dying.
Oh shoot!
I'm gonna need you to I've been drinking water. I'm gonna need you to edit out that last gurgling sound I made from my nose there.
I can do it for the audio, that's for sure.
Well, I do it for the audio too. I cut out a lot of.
Oh my gosh! I'm actually okay. Real quick, sorry. I'm I'll let you finish, Jonathan, in a second. I'm watching the trailer of Mission Impossible because I'm on the IMDb. There's a whole makeout scene between Claire and Ethan that's not in the movie. In the trailer. So
that's how I guess that's that clickbait.
I guess they saved it. They saved those scenes for the trailer, and then when they were making the movie, they were like, "Nah, take that out." It's like, oh, okay.
Or they intentionally left them in, knowing this is what they think audiences want to see, but psych, it's not actually in.
No. I mean, when they made the official movie. But yeah, I see what you mean about the trailer.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead. What you were gonna say? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
I put up the quotation marks when you said final movie because we know.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Who knows? This could be a Fast and Furious situation where it's like, all right, y'all, it's the final movie. I'm sorry, is Vin Diesel sneaking in here? Family. No.
Right.
But you said this is the final movie.
No, The Rock will try to get in.
Well, they do want to make another Hobbs and Shaw apparently, so I'm like, Fast and Furious will never die, I guess.
or with Mission Impossible, 5 to 10 years down the line, they're gonna call it the Mission Impossible, or just Mission, or just Impossible, or they're gonna make a series again, or they're gonna do something, because they know they have a gold mine still, even 30 years later. So.
Well, it depends, because I will say that's the one thing that I found interesting, and it's why James Bond has had a hard time coming back after Daniel Craig's last few James Bond movies. The spy genre's kind of dying. You okay, Alex?
Yeah, let's wrap up.
But I'm
quickly,
fine.
because
we're
running.
It's okay.
No. We're going very.
But
long.
I was just gonna say, like the spy genre is kind of dying out, so it's kind of a thing where it's like I'm curious to see how much money this movie makes, compared to the others, because I don't expect it to make the same amount of money, because the last one didn't make the same amount of money.
It says so far after weekend one, it's made $227.1 million, and that's on a what? Why do they have a budget between $300 and $400 million? That is a large.
Yeah.
Oh, because they
but that's a large
places.
Yeah.
They
well,
travel.
I know it's a big budget, but it's a large gap. They don't have the specific budget on here between $300 and $400 million.
Oh, I see.
A lot of millions.
Yeah, but it's. And, but hey, listen, it's I think, yeah. So I'm curious to see. I don't know if we'll see a Mission Impossible for a while, because even the movie Black Bag, the spy movie that came out this year, which didn't do well in the box office.
It's if you want to watch it, it's on Peacock right now. And I've been meaning to watch it. And I wanted to watch it the first weekend it was out.
Same.
But then something kept telling me I'm not really into I feel like I'm going to go into this being like, yeah, okay, cool, fun, spy movies. But then when I watch it, I'm like going to be kind of bored, I feel like.
And see, that's the thing. It's like, I don't think audiences are into the spy genre as much as they used to be anymore. Like, it's not the thing. But I say all that to say, I don't know. We'll see. I was just curious what your thoughts were if they could do a thing. We'll wait for Alex to come back to get her answer. But before then, audience, tell us what you think about Mission Impossible. Whether it be the whole franchise, the original TV series, the first movie, or the new set of movies, whatever you want to interpret that question to be, comment below. Tell us what you think about Mission Impossible. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you want a reboot maybe in the future with like a new character, and then Ethan Hunt turns out to be a bad guy and he dies so that Tom Cruise can feel the pain that the original cast felt when his movie came out? What do you think should happen? Comment below. Tell us what you think.
That part.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm done.
Yep. Alex,
right.
Did you want to answer the question, or you want to just go? Because we're about to go. We were about to go ahead into socials. The question was, do you think they could reboot Mission Impossible after this movie, maybe years later, with like a new cast, and maybe Ethan Hunt gets exited out, and we have a new set of agents and a new set of people to fill in the gap of Mission Impossible movies,
So,
like keep the story going?
I agree. It's like what Jonathan said. They probably will, because they kind of do that when it comes to that. But honestly, I think if they end up doing that, they're just going to have the effect that 007 has now, where people are just like, it's not 007. It's not that character anymore, even though it's like a whole new person. And eventually it's going to tap out, because I know a lot of people's complaints with Casino Royale was like, oh, he's nothing like the original 007, who was like a womanizer, said these one-liners, drank. Daniel Craig's character was a little more deeper.
He's darker.
Darker too. Yeah, deeper and darker. Like, he had these like really strong conversations with people. It wasn't like action, and they're like, oh, he's older. So you can also find people who are complaining about like the age range of Tom Cruise's character, or the new, like, basically Ethan. So I think, should they? No. Let this franchise be what it is. Are they probably going to? Yeah. Probably in like 10 years. Yeah. Will it do well? probably not, because nothing seems to do well after picking up after 10 years like they've been trying to do. Look what they're doing to Harry Potter. For God's sakes, let it die.
Well, like I was saying, like the spy genre is not doing well at all right now. Like that's why they can't get a 007 movie off the ground like they want to, and any other spy thrillers they've tried have not done as well. So, nope. Socials. Here we
go. You can find me at Jonathan Keys on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please. You can also follow us at The First Ones to Die anywhere you like. You can email us thefirstones2die@gmail.com. If you are watching us on YouTube, please give us a like and subscribe. Also, comment below. Tell us your thoughts on Mission Impossible. And if you've seen the newest one, let us know your thoughts on that too. And if you're listening to us on your favorite audio podcast listening platform, go ahead and give us a 5-star rating and review. Jerome, where can people find you?
You can find me at Not Jerome Rhett on Instagram, and also check out the YouTube channel. There's a bunch of stuff up there that you cannot get on the audio streaming platform. There's gaming videos, there's vlogs, there's book reviews, mini reviews, and also filmed versions of all of the podcasts, and even clips from the podcast that have been cut out just to be exclusive little video snippets on the YouTube channel. So go on over to the YouTube channel, The First Ones to Die, and you can check out all of that fun stuff. And if you're already on the YouTube channel and you're watching this video, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe if you like what you saw. Don't forget to favorite and share and do all the things. You know how it all goes. Alex, where can people find you?
I'm trying to get this out before I go die again. You can find me at Alex and Nobody on Instagram and on TikTok, as well as the podcast TikTok, The First Ones to Die, where I post little clips of episodes we have done, show you sneak peeks of what we're going to do, and add my own little commentary with the own movies I have been watching. And also head over there and give me some book recommendations. I'm trying to get back into reading, so I'd love to hear what you guys suggest. Currently, I have a bunch of coworkers who like to read smut, so I've got now some smutty books. I'm part of Book Talk now, which one I have is really cute, and another one, she's like, it's a little bit of a darker romance. I'm like, okay, cool. The writing at the beginning is kind of childish, but then I was like, oh, this does get dark. Oh my goodness. So head on over there. Leave me some recommendations. I'd be happy to have them. There you go again. I'm good. Go on.
Well, perfect timing. Tune in next time for
the parenting.
Something. That's right. The parenting.
Pride Month pick this year for Pride Month in June. We're going to do a retro review of this movie. It's going to be a fun time. We got a lot of fun reviews upcoming. I'm excited for the month of June, for not just you audience, but for us. I feel like we're going to have a lot of fun discussions where we get to laugh and have a good time. But in order for you to enjoy that podcast goodness, you're going to have to do one thing, is tune back in next week. But until then, have a good night, good morning, good evening, whenever you're listening to this. And we will catch you for the next one. Bye.
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 Alive, like some of the original cast is still
You
alive.
know how... Hey, that show was in the mid-60s. So...
I love the laugh I have right now because, I don't have a sore throat, but, I just been coughing a lot. I have this, snickering laugh at the moment, and it's just, my laugh makes me laugh now. I just sound like I'm snickering all the time. Like I'm ready to discuss my evil plot.
I love that.
Go on over to the YouTube channel at The First Ones to Die to see all the fun stuff we got going on here, like mini reviews, book reviews, gaming videos, vlogs, all types of stuff.
Please follow us at The First Ones to Die everywhere. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe.